up, and Adam, it's draft day. Where some people tonight hit the lottery, Preston Thorne. Some people tonight watch somebody get drafted and think, uh-oh. Oh, no. He plays my position.
Yeah, you could be like Brian Rose sitting at home watching, trying to decide whether or not they pick Bo Callahan. You don't know what's happening. You could be sitting and watching it. You're like, are they going to pick Bo Callahan? Is my job up for – a lot of things could be happening.
If you're wondering, that is a Kevin Costner draft day movie reference to which Preston Thorne has now what? First time? That was the first time?
First time.
Okay.
First time.
All right. I look forward. Jen, have you seen Draft Day? Have you seen it with Kevin Costner?
I actually have not.
Okay. All right. I have seen it. There's a reason I've only seen it once. I'll just say that. But we will have a very good movie review for you later on today.
I mean, Brian Rowe, he was so good the year before, but he was coming off of ACL. The new hot shot was going to do they pick Bo Callahan or not? These are the type of things that these GMs are doing with, man. Sonny Weaver Jr., he had a lot of choices to make.
There's a lot in this movie, by the way. There was a lot in this movie. We'll get to all of that. The Draft Day movie that came out. I was trying to look. When did this come back? When did this come out? April 7th. It was released April 11th, 2014.
What a brilliant set. You release it in April, right before the draft. 2014.
Now, granted, this is fictional. Moneyball. Have you seen Moneyball?
Mm-hmm.
With Brad Pitt. That was truth because of it was followed what the A's did and Billy Beane and everything. But which one? Let's go. We'll move on. Which one did you like better?
Draft Day.
Really? Okay. Because it's football or because it's relevant right now?
No, because it was a better movie.
Okay. All right.
It was a bad movie, but it was a more fun movie.
All right. So, yeah, I'm trying to think. Those seem to be about the two kind of – those kind of seem similar, just that one's based on some real-life events. The other is not at all. And I'm not sure if that's how it works out. But anyway, we will get into that as it was an interesting movie. If you haven't seen it, maybe take time to try and get it in before.
I will not do any spoilers. No spoiler alerts, because if you haven't seen it, even though it's 11 years later, like myself, I think I feel like I should be able to spoil it, but without spoiler alerts, we will have a movie review coming.
803-404-6100. Last night, NBA playoffs. Did you get into them at all, or were you too busy locked into the movie scene?
We're here for the playoffs, man.
Okay,
We're here. We're here. NBA playoffs. A couple of you probably weren't paying attention, but these teams are good now. Cleveland, they're good. They're actually really good.
I was going to say that.
Probably the second best team in the Eastern Conference. And if you haven't been paying attention to NBA basketball, that would definitely surprise you. It surprised me because they don't really have any, except for Donovan Mitchell, no big name stars. So that's a fun team to watch if you want to jump on a team. Might be a fun team to watch.
They were the top team in the Eastern Conference. They had won 3 more games than the Celtics.
Correct.
So yeah, if you want to go with the Celtics, I understand.
Top seeded team.
Yeah, they are actually the number 1 seed, which is cool to see. I mean, you say they don't, but listen, they've got a young group of players there in Darius Garland and Evan Mobley who are really, really good players. They were high draft picks. I mean, this was a team, and then they went out and got a huge, big free agent in Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, and again, if you're looking for a team to jump on, I wouldn't say they built the team the quote unquote right way. So all the things that you're looking for, that might be a team that you want to get involved with. Houston.
This is the one that caught me off guard when we got to the playoffs.
Check them out.
We're good again?
Houston's back.
Well, I said we. I was like, they're good again? Oh,
yeah.
Okay, this is new.
Houston's good again. He got Ime Udoka off the trash pile from Boston. He resurrected his career.
Got to admit, didn't realize he was the coach until last night.
That's what can happen if you're not paying attention. Things are always happening. So, yeah, Houston beat Golden State last night. Playoff Jimmy.
He's got an MRI coming up.
We'll see what goes down with that. But that's another interesting story that you might want to get involved with. And I said Orlando is fun. I think they are a fun team. They're just not good enough against Boston. So I think that will either be a sweep or a gentleman sweep with that one. But Orlando is a fun team. If you're a fan of the Magic right now, this is a good time to be a fan.
Yeah, they're an up-and-coming team. They've also done a good job of drafting. The one thing they've not done really is go out and get the big-time free agent. They have the old guy in Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who has been around, I think, since sometime in 2001 or 2002. But the Celtics last night, no Jason Tatum, so Jaylen Brown. And Jaylen Brown, I remember when Jaylen Brown signed that massive contract, and I was like, really? Jaylen Brown?
Mm-hmm.
Like, Jaylen Brown? Well, last night he kind of shows why he got a massive contract. No Jason Tatum to share the ball with, and he had a monster night. So that was in the NBA last night. Tonight in the NBA, as that keeps rolling, it always feels like these first rounds take forever. But tonight, you've got Game 3 of New York-Detroit. If you haven't gotten in, that's actually been an entertaining series. Kind of, you talk about like
another one of those like, who? The Pistons are good?
Yeah, the Pistons are. Didn't they lose like 72 in a row last year? Yeah, they've done well. They've built up. OKC tonight, Game 3 against Memphis.
Another team. Hey, if you're not really actually paying attention, oh, by the way, OKC, very good, best in the West.
Exactly, and then
you might have missed that.
And then if you want to stay up for it, Denver and the Clippers have been a very entertaining series as well.
Another fun series.
So it'll be a good night of NBA. NHL last night. I don't think anybody cares, but let me tell you, if you like good sport, if you like just good sport, like entertaining sport, and I say sport because maybe you don't really care about baseball, but if you know it's going to be a good pitching matchup and it's going to fit what you like, you'll tune in. Maybe you're not crazy about regular season NFL, but you get Mahomes and Josh Allen on a Sunday afternoon. You're like, I'm going to tune in. Good. Dallas and Colorado is delivering the goods in this series, and I'm watching that a little bit because those were two teams I picked out at the beginning of the year out of the West to win, and I'm a little disappointed that they're facing each other in the very first round. Another overtime game last night from them. Dallas wins 2-1 in that game in overtime over Colorado. Washington, that was a fun game early on. They knocked off Montreal. They take a 2-0 series lead, and that one.
Can I just get on board with just cheering for the old guy? Can I take that tactic?
It's hard not to like him. When he won, and we used to have that clip, I don't know where it is now, of him yelling just into the mic, just inebriated, screaming and yelling, just sounds like a Viking coming to take over your country.
The funny thing about Ovechkin is, like, Tom Brady spends all this money to take care of his body, LeBron James in a hyperbaric chamber. Ovechkin's doing none of that.
Nah.
He's not into any of that. He's not taking care of his body. He's consuming liquid calories consistently, and he's still the highest scoring, the most prolific goal scorer in NHL history. Pretty amazing.
He's fun, man. And there's no teeth involved.
There's no teeth. He's not dyeing his hair. He's just a dude who's going out there on the ice and scoring lots of goals.
So, yeah, you're exactly right. They win last night, then I did not stay up. L.A. Thumps Edmonton 6-2 last night. Edmonton was a team that was kind of expected to challenge a little bit more for the Stanley Cup this year, and they're down 2-0 in that series. So that was your NHL last night. NHL and NBA. We'll do some Chop Talk later on today, and Braves win again, Preston. All right. We kind of I can't say they're really making up a ton of ground right now, but what they're not doing is they're not losing ground. They're just kind of hanging in there a little bit right now. 7.5 back of the Mets, but we're 24 games in. Still about 140 to go.
Is that good news or bad news?
That they're hanging in?
7.5 back. But we're only played 140. We still got 140 left. Is that good news?
About 138. Is that right? Real quick math, yeah. It's news. Good question. The Mets are rolling. 18-17. Phillies are. I mean, look. Here's the thing. The Braves are 2.5 back of the Phillies.
Right.
It's just right now the Mets, who I have not actually studied this because I didn't take time to look. The Mets actually have the most wins in Major League Baseball after last night. The Padres have 17 wins. The Giants, the San Francisco Giants, and the Dodgers each with 16, along with Jen's Cubs. Mm-hmm. Jen's Cubs, 16-10.
Beat the Dodgers the other night.
The Cubs and the Dodgers are just playing each other every game right now.
I feel like that's, they've been playing each other a lot.
I don't know what's going on.
And the Padres, like, what's going on?
Feels like
every time I look at a box score, I'm like, the Cubs Dodgers played again? Didn't they opened in Tokyo. It's just, this is what we're doing. So that is your breakdown. We'll do some Chop Talk later. But we're going to do a lot of draft talk today. Nick Eamon Ward. We get set to see him tonight. And Preston, it's the local boy that we never knew was the local boy is what it feels like.
Yeah,
We're gonna get into that recruitment story. He is the local guy that I don't know if we really understand. He's the local guy, right?
Yeah, it's really fascinating that his story is not as vaunted as some of the other guys who we consider the hometown legends, or even the guys from Rock Hill or other places. But yeah, he's right there.
Yeah,
10 minutes up the road for a long time.
yeah. He's not Stephon Gilmore. He's not Alshon Jeffrey. I mean, Stephon was. I'm trying to think of anybody locally that has come. You know, again, if you want to throw,
all of those guys, Lattimore, Clowney.
Yep.
You can go on. You can go on and on about these guys that we consider in-state home
that we knew
guys.
about.
And we knew, which we're gonna play a clip from Jadeveon Clowney, and I don't know whether he was talking about his personal life, but he's definitely on record saying nobody believed in me.
Be a basketball player. And that person would have been dead on correct.
It could have been anybody in his life. I'm just saying, JD, there were a lot of people who believed in you.
Okay. All right. We will get to that. But yeah, Nick Eamon Ward, we'll get into his recruitment. We'll remember his recruitment. We'll talk about his career and his combine. The local guy who maybe we don't really remember as the local guy. We'll talk about that. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. It is your Thursday morning episode of The Early Game. You're on 107.5 The Game. Bill Gunner for Love Chevrolet, I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park, where there is no better time than right now to get out to Love Chevrolet and check out those 14 acres of brand new Chevys. That's right. At Love Chevrolet, they have the largest selection of vehicles anywhere in the Midlands. That's why they have been the #1 volume Chevy dealer right here in the Midlands since 1961. Did you know that? They have been taking care of Midlands families just like yours and mine since 1961. So get out to Love Chevrolet today, where they are your trusted hometown Chevy dealer. Talk to the phenomenal sales staff there. Let them lead you around those 14 acres and find that brand new Suburban, Tahoe, or Silverado that you have been looking for. Well, right now they've got exclusive specials running. Those springtacular deals continue to run, and they are going to make you very happy as you will get a brand new car at the absolute best price. Get out to Love Chevrolet today, and together, let's drive.
And need to make you aware of a vehicle on fire, and that is I-77 northbound at Faro Road. So be mindful heading through that part of I-77 northbound right there at Faro Road. Vehicle on fire. As far as your forecast is concerned, we'll see some afternoon or evening thunderstorms coming in. 77 for the high today, cloudy and 80 tomorrow. Partly cloudy on Saturday with a high of 84. But right now, this morning, we're starting it off with a little bit of overcast skies, a couple spots of just a little bit of mild fog. 64 currently on 107.5 The Game.
.618 on a Thursday morning, draft day, April the 24th. And we'll get a lot into that, talk a little with Nick Emmanwori, but we have a special sounder for a day like this, do we not?
Folks, somebody somewhere just popped up out of their bed. You hear that sound, it's like a dog hunting. Like when my dog hears a siren. You hear that sound one more time, Jen? That might be Patrick Peret's alarm.
That might be,
It might be his alarm sound.
It might be.
There's a legion
He's
of
married now. That might have come to a screeching halt, but
there's a legion of men who, when they hear that sound one more time, Jen, can we just hear it again? You know what that sound is, Bill. It's time. It's officially here.
How many did they go through before they chose that particular time?
There's a story in The Athletic about it. I haven't read it yet, but there is a story about how they landed on this particular sound because, I mean, it's an iconic sound, yeah.
I missed that story.
It is iconic. It is the sound. We know this sound.
Well, I'm trying to think. I do in that story. I didn't see this story. Does it say when precisely that they started using that? Let's see if you look that up. 803-404-6100 if you want to text in, weigh in this morning, and weigh in on anything. Texter weighs in hot take. There are no spoilers for 11-year-old movies. and then same texter says, and waiting for my Jets to mess things up again.
Let's see. Well, that's possibly true.
So,
good luck.
Emmanwori, and as we said in the previous segment, is kind of like, we're going to kind of go through, try and get through his career here in this segment. But Preston, it's really interesting because I remember his recruitment. I remember his recruitment specifically because trying to learn his last name more of.
Yeah.
From Irmo, but because he's not a guy that we talked about as you just mentioned as a sophomore, as a junior, like, oh, here comes this guy. Look out for this guy. And this guy was kind of a freak of nature, but yet we didn't talk about this guy
the whole time. And also to this point, he didn't move to. He's from Irmo.
Yeah.
Like he's a product of this school system. He's been here the whole time. And you're right. Didn't get the same. Again, I remember hearing about Stephon Gilmore when he was in 8th grade. There's this quarterback coming. He can play both positions. Jadeveon Clowney. I remember him. I mean, when did we first hear about Marcus Lattimore, right? I mean, forever.
Freshman.
Clearly.
I think I interviewed him as a sophomore at the Shrine Bowl. I think I interviewed him.
And here's this guy who is right here, literally 10 minutes down the road from where we are sitting in the studio on Gervais Street, and kind of almost a surprise to everybody. It's really interesting. Also, to that point about his recruitment, some people knew very early,
right?
And they found out. And again, as I said on the show before, when this staff did find out.
Well, yeah, because if you don't know the story, and I think it's, again, kind of like 11 years old and movies and spoilers, he comes to South Carolina's camp, and he didn't have many offers. He didn't have any big offers at all. And he comes to South Carolina camp, and he shows out, and I think even the people over there were like, where did this guy come from? Who is this guy? Even what did he – how do we say that? Oh, okay, Nick Emmanwori. And they pulled him off to the side. And the story I get, you can vouch for this, you can validate because I know you know a few things, is about 30 minutes, 25 minutes into the workout, they pulled him off to the side and took him away from the rest of the campers and had a personal workout and immediately offered him. And then kind of went to, I think it was Coach Brand or whomever was over there. I do not remember the coach at the time, was like, let's not take him to too many more camps. Like, he's going to get offers. And so they kind of protected him.
So yeah, part of his recruitment was that his family was not heavily involved in the recruiting process. His family was new to the whole interscholastic.
They didn't even know what they had.
And from a lot of the stories I hear, they're just now figuring out, like, oh, this is important. And again, without so many details, his definitely comes from a family where, like, yeah, football's fine, but are you going to be a doctor or a lawyer?
Right, okay.
You know, because this is great. I hear you. All SEC, no, okay.
Glad you're doing that, but let's focus over here.
Yeah, be like the rest of the family. So, yeah, his family was not necessarily tuned into what exactly was going on. And so that was a little bit of why the process may not have gotten everywhere. Put it like this. The exact opposite of Nico Amiala's parents. Definitely that opposite spectrum when you're talking about parental involvement in the recruiting
or LeVar Ball.
Yes, totally different.
Yeah. And so with that being said, because I think it's J.C. Sherbert has said this and a few other scouts I've talked to, had he gone from camp to camp to camp, which a lot of kids do, go camp. I think he did go camp at North Carolina, I think, and got an offer immediately from them, from Mack Brown's staff. But what I've been told is, had he gone to Alabama, to Georgia, to Florida, to you name the school, whatever big school you want to name, Tennessee, he would have had all those offers. And I've been told that if the ratings people at 24/7 Sports and On3 had really known about him and he'd gone to these camps and they'd really been able to lay their eyes on him, he would have been a 5-star.
Right.
He would have been a 5-star prospect because of the freakiness of his nature, which takes us from his recruitment to what he does in his very first game. 5 plays in?
I don't even know if it was that many. I don't know. I think it was like the third play. Because if the Georgia State was driving, the Sean Elliott led Georgia State. It's really interesting. You go back and look at all those clips. Sean Elliott's team is driving down the field. They're going in to score. The previous free safety, I forget, I'm running short on his name, number 10.
Wasn't Roderick? Was it Roderick?
Yeah, it was. He gets injured. The old Wally Pipp. He leaves the game.
Yeah.
Never to be seen again. Nick comes in, 4th and 1, big stop, and that's when we find him. That's the first play of his career, and then he goes on to have a long, tremendous career after that. And we just start to watch him through that freshman year. You're like, oh. He can do this too. Oh, he can do that too. And then we just watch him have a long and prosperous career as a Gamecock.
And that led us to this offseason. And here is Todd McShay talking about Nick Emmanwori's combine, where all of a sudden we knew he would, but he finally exploded into the NFL.
First of all, Nick Emmanwori from South Carolina, your guy, stole the show.
We knew it was coming. I mean, we knew this guy was going to have a big workout.
Yeah, but not like this.
Yeah. No. He's 6'3", 220 pounds, 32.25-inch arms. Then he runs a 4.38 40-yard dash. Oh. Has an 11-foot, 6-inch broad jump, and then it has a 43-inch vertical. Those are outrageous numbers for any defensive back, let alone a guy that's 6'3", 220 pounds.
You don't draft on measurables, right?
Right.
But you do draft on potential and traits. He's going to be in the first round. You don't have those kind of traits combined with really good tape. Not perfect tape, really good tape.
I come into your office and you're the GM,
yep,
and I'm a scout, and you say to me, what can he do? I say everything. He is versatile. He can play over the slot. He can play high. He can play in the box. He can match up with tight ends. He can play zone. I think he's got outrageous ball skills. Is there some concerns on tape? Sure, I'll give you that. I thought he missed some tackles this year that I was a little bit surprised by. There are some issues on tape. No one is completely clean. But if you're asking me, what are his abilities and what can he do? The answer is everything.
I want to play a clip, but I think you want to hold it for for the next segment. I tell you what, Jen, let me mess up Preston's. Because he said he could do about everything. This is clip This is clip number 11, Jen, if you don't mind. And let's all, Preston, if you'll just Preston's going to bask in the glow. Here is clip number 11. This is a tackle by Nick Eamon-Wari.
Play for the last 4 or 5 snaps. Cook, able to find Burden, who gets stuck by the first man of the night here, bringing down Luther Burden in space to force this third down. Missouri just 1 of 8 on third down.
Relive the
Player
clip for a
of the year,
second.
Luther Burden, high draft pick, is in the flats. Brady Cook throws him the ball. He's wide open. Number 7, not 21. Number 7 comes down, shuffles his feet, gets square, drops his hips, expands his arms, wraps him up, brings him down one-on-one, makes it into a 3rd and 11, I believe. The game is possibly over. Not early, though, because Brady Cook been through a touchdown there.
Very true.
Luther Burden on the next play in the end zone. But it would have almost been the play that that won that game. So yes, he can do everything. He can tackle. Obviously, we're gonna have a celebration of Nick Six here. It's coming up in a minute. He can do everything that you want from a defensive back.
Yeah, and we'll see where he goes again tonight. I get you some of the mock drafts here as we have finally done with the mock drafts. I'm sure somebody's got one that's going to pop up at like noon today, kind of like the final. I think all the analysts compete to have the final mock draft out there. So
yeah, and also, how is it really a mock draft if he's mocked draft to go anywhere from 13 to 29? I mean, I could get paid to say that, right? He's going to go somewhere in the he's anywhere between 13 and 29. Thanks.
A couple of y'all weighing in. Chris just going with Eagles. Way to spell it better than the mayor.
The mayor, she struggled with that.
Another texter weighs in. Nick to the Commanders feels right. Another texter goes with, I've been upset because I wanted him to stay another year, but darn, y'all are on it today. We need to celebrate this kid. Great kid with no off-the-field problems and an on-the-field Superman. So we got that going this morning. Saul also weighs in to Preston's point. Nick tackling in space. He's one of the best I've seen in South Carolina.
And not only just tackling in space, it was a crucial moment. It was a big play. It was a big time. So if we're going to celebrate Nick, we're going to throw some picks. Nick Sixes next segment.
Nick Sixes.
Let's have fun.
We'll come back. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. It's the early game. Bill Gunner for the Mortgage Guru, Jacob Crowder, and First Palmetto Bank. As we roll along this year, it is time for you to be getting in touch with Jacob Crowder, the Mortgage Guru, and find out what he and First Palmetto Bank have to offer. That's right, because over there, you don't know what kind of interest rates you're going to get until you make the phone call. It might be something that fits your budget extremely well, and that's what comes to be the most important thing. I know you can go and find that great-looking house, but are you getting the right interest rate? Are you getting the right monthly mortgage payments? Do you have enough for the down payment? These are all the incredibly big questions you have to ask yourself when it comes to making a big financial decision. And the Mortgage Guru, Jacob Crowder, with over 20 years of experience, is ready to help you. So give him a phone call today, 803-719-1005. Again, that's 803-719-1005. He's the Mortgage Guru, Jacob Crowder with First Palmetto Bank.
Still have a report of a vehicle that is on fire, and that is I-77 northbound at Faro Road. So again, that's I-77 northbound at Faro Road. Report of a vehicle fire. 277 northbound at I-77, a report of an accident there. Could be impacting traffic flow. That forecast for today, afternoon and evening thunderstorms possible, scattered ones, of course. 77 for the high. Tomorrow, looking for cloudy conditions and 80, some clouds and 84 for Saturday before it cools a little bit. A high Sunday of 78. But right now we are looking at overcast conditions, 64 on 107.5 The Game.
It's 6:35 here on a Thursday morning, draft day. Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen. Hope you're getting up and getting going this morning as we are talking Nick Emmanwori, who expected to be the only draft pick from South Carolina tonight. TJ Sanders maybe can slide in, but unlikely.
Well, as we know from watching the movie, anything can happen on draft day, Bill. Sonny Weaver Jr. could be pulling a move. There could be something that's happening. You never know. So draft day is unpredictable. There might be trades. Somebody might be saying TJ Sanders no matter what. There could be anything. We don't know what's going to happen on draft day, Bill.
You don't. And I don't know if you mean the movie or the actual draft day.
That's the point of the movie.
There was
Sonny Weaver Jr.
There, yeah.
He was under a lot of pressure, man. That was a big day for him.
It was a huge day.
Big day.
Big day.
Woo.
All kinds of stuff had been going on in that situation.
What a day. Imagine that day. Whew. Draft day, and you find out huge news. Whoa. Not going to spoil it.
There.
No spoilers.
Next segment. Speaking of spoilers, Nick Emmanwori was a constant spoiler for quarterbacks with pick sixes. I don't think we really appreciated what he really did with these pick sixes.
Nick sixes.
Okay.
Nick sixes.
Lead the way on this.
There was a lot of interceptions for touchdowns this year. A lot of entertaining, fun things. And it started with the one that probably broke us all. Early in the season, LSU. Here we go. Jen, clip number 9.
Let's get a turnover, guys. Get a turnover. Taylor goes left side. Snap it back. Here comes Carolina. Nussmeier, quick throw. Into coverage. Is picked off. Emmanwori down the near sideline. Got some blockers. There's the speed. 40, 50 flag on the play. 30, 20, 10, 5. Touchdown, Carolina. Hold on, though. 5 flags thrown back at the line of scrimmage.
5
flags.
5 flags.
Tell me it's not a conspiracy.
5. Do the refs even have 5 flags? Is that 2 apiece? That's one.
No, yeah.
2 of them?
They ran over and grabbed the extra flag off of the stands and threw that one as well.
Yeah.
Paul Feinbaum, by the way, was in town last night giving a lecture from what I understand.
It was really good. I went.
Did you
Really?
I went, yep.
And apparently he said, the officials at the South Carolina LSU game need to be officiating Pee Wee football.
That would be correct. That was his exact quote.
Yeah.
He knew his crowd.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah, it was really interesting for him to. He said, he said I try to avoid talking about officiating too much, but he said that one was so blatant, and he said it was a case where he said I think that cost Carolina the chance to go to the playoffs.
Yeah,
no question.
Unfortunately, that you can, if you want to look back and say that there was a singular moment that could have changed the trajectory of the season, that's it.
Yeah.
Pick 6. I mean, and it was one of those plays that shows all of Nick's versatility. He comes down in the box, he gets back, makes the pick, and it was, again, you don't make a pick 6 for 100 yards without the coaches saying, no, yes,
right,
because he had 1 foot in the end zone, right,
yeah.
And he could have easily just downed it. It would have been, everybody would have been very happy. But no, as you hear, he starts building and building and building. Unfortunately, it didn't work out the way we wanted.
You got another one, though.
So then, the season rolls along. We're moving along. We're going to Kentucky. It's going to be a tough game. The teams are battling. We're expecting a defensive struggle. What was it, Brock Vandergriff? Was that who?
Brock Vandergriff.
Brock Vandergriff. We thought he was going to be doing that. Jen, this is clip number 8.
Vandergriff now has got the sunlight right in his face. facing the west part of the stadium. Fakes inside, going to roll left. Trying to go down the field and into coverage and picked off at the 30-yard line and turning the corner at the 20. At the 10, that's Emmanwori into the end zone. Touchdown, Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
Touchdown, Nick Emmanwori.
No flags.
25 yards out. Big Blue is going from the bleachers to the parking lot right now with 14:49 to go in the ball game.
That sealed it. That was a wrap. And again, with context being important and knowing what's going on the rest of the season, it's really important when you hear him say no flags, because there were no flags at that moment, and that definitely was the thing that sealed. And everybody, if you're watching those games at that time, you're looking around, you're like, is there any flags, any flags, any flags? And that sealed the deal. Then, Bill, it was Oklahoma. It was Oklahoma. We went down there. They started the game off with a punt to us and a pick six, and that game was over before it even started.
Sooners are down 14 points to Carolina in the first ever meeting. Hawkins, freshman, takes it in the pocket, gets hit as he throws it into coverage again, and picked off again at the 40 of Carolina down the near sideline. That's Emmanwori towards the end zone. Are you kidding me? Touchdown, Carolina. Touchdown, Nick Emmanwori. Pick six. Dylan Stewart with the pressure. Emmanwori runs it into the end zone for his second pick six on the season.
Third. Do you like?
Yeah.
Asterisk third.
Yeah.
If you know, you know.
I know what you mean.
If you know, you know.
Yeah.
You like pick six, pick Nick better, or Nick six better?
Nick six, if you're gonna make me.
You like a Nick six?
Yeah.
You don't.
I like the Nick six.
All right, let's go. So Nick six. So he had
like
two asterisks, three Nick sixes for the year, which again, an incredible amount of huge plays throughout the season. He was just somebody who was around the ball, and he was able to make plays, and that stuff shows up on film.
Hey, it's one of those things where I think, remember, there was a time that we were talking more about him. Move him to linebacker. Move him to linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
And then he really showcased his defensive back skills this year. And as you just said, the Oklahoma one was actually pretty crazy because it was early in the game, but it felt like it sealed the game.
Yeah,
it felt like like we were all standing around and that was coming off the Alabama loss, but it felt like, oh, this sealed the game.
Mm-hmm.
And the LSU game obviously could have sealed the game. The Kentucky one, again, kind of put the dagger into Kentucky in that game. So you had a lot of situations like that where his pick sixes weren't just random moments in a game. It was at key times that it felt like put an exclamation point on a certain part of the game.
Sort of like when he made an open field tackle against Luther Burden against Missouri on 3rd and 11, and it forced the down into 4th down territory where Brady Cook then threw a touchdown. But that's besides the point. Yes, he showed up in a lot of times for a lot of big plays for the team.
803-404-6100, how you can weigh in on any of that this morning as we get you ready for the NFL draft tonight. But first, we've got to do a movie review. I'm interested to hear this from Preston Thorne because I remember when I watched this movie for the first time, and that was the only time.
So you might need to brush up on some things. Maybe you forgot some key details of this movie.
I was trying to remember how it arrived at the very end. I've read now and remembered because we'll get into it.
Sonny Weaver Jr., big day.
We'll get into it. 803-404-6100. You're listening to the early game.
Presser here for our friends at Absolute Glass, the premier glass company of the Midlands, offering auto, home, and business glass repair. If your glass is damaged, shattered, cracked, or broken, they can handle the job. Cracked windshield? No problem. They'll come out to your location and replace it for you, usually for free, and they'll work directly with the insurance to take away the headache. They'll come out to wherever you are, school, home, work, draft day, it does not matter. Absolute Glass will take care of the job for you. Now, if you're at home, you're looking to increase the value of your home, you can do that with new windows and mirrors. And Absolute Glass will take care of that for you, too. Windows, mirrors, shower enclosures. Say it all the time. If you can see through it, Ray and Marianne at Absolute Glass can do it. So check them out online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com. That's online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com. "2009 was the first time the official chime was used. They played with the chime in 2006, but 2009 with the first pick of Matthew Stafford was the first time that the chime was used, and it has been a fix and a staple ever since then. They even brought it to the NBA in 2015, WNBA in 2021. The sound is officially known for being recognized as the pick sound. So that is the chime, 2009, Matthew Stafford.
Did not know that.
There we go.
I would have thought it was, for some reason, I would have thought it was a much, much, much earlier. I'd have gone into the 90s.
Yeah, 2009 again. As we keep playing with time on this show, long time ago.
Well, there is that as well. That was the.
Ask your son how long 2009
Well,
ago
no,
was.
I don't have to. That was before my daughter was born.
There you go.
If they used it in April of 2009,
Long time.
matter of fact, that was before I started radio.
There you go.
So yeah, so that's how long. All right, you last night decided to get, or yesterday at some point, decided to get yourself fully invested in Draft Day.
Draft Day 2014. Kevin Costner. The movie depicts the fictional semi-biographical life of Sonny Weaver Jr., the Browns GM. Kevin Costner plays the Browns GM. He's in a tough spot. There's nepotism calls being thrown around. He had to fire his father, who was the coach of the team. Not any spoilers for anybody. He had to fire his coach, who was the coach, was the father who was the coach of the team.
Yep.
And he's here on draft day, and his job is on the line. He has pressure coming from the owner. He has pressure coming from everybody. Jen?
The ticket.
Yeah.
I already sent the ticket.
You did what? You sent the ticket. It's tradition. We all sent.
New tradition, guys. All right, when this team starts winning, we'll come back to that.
He sends the ticket. He makes the pick. And he makes a different pick than some people might have made.
Yes.
He makes a somewhat controversial pick. And in making the somewhat controversial pick, he has to wheel and he has to deal and he has to do all types of things. And it depicts what is happening on draft day with these GMs. Bill, I got to say, I didn't think this movie was bad.
Okay.
I wasn't looking for an accurate reenactment of what goes on in the war room, but I thought it was entertaining. Kevin Costner, always great. Always great. And by the way, when I was doing some research for this, the run that Kevin Costner had from 1988 to 1992, Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah.
88, Bull Durham. 89, Field of Dreams. 90, Dances with Wolves. 91, JFK. 92, Bodyguard. That's in 4 years. What a run. Anyway, 20 years after that, he is Sonny Weaver Jr., and he makes this decision to make a draft pick. I thought Draft Day was a fun movie.
Okay.
I was not going for it for historical or accuracy, but I did think it was a very fun movie. Now, here's the thing. Being that the movie was done 10 years ago, 11 years ago now, there are some where are they nows. And things, let's first, sadly, Vontae Mack was played by Chadwick Boseman. Rest in peace, Black Panther. That was one of his first roles. Rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman. Bo Callahan's agent, Sean Combs. Not a good look. Sean Combs, otherwise known as Puff Daddy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Orange jumpsuit number.
Yeah, they need to figure out how they can do some AI and put like a different guy in there. We need to do some.
They could put you in there. That would be amazing.
Well, I don't know if here's the thing. You believe him as a scummy agent. He does a great job as a scummy agent. He does a good job. It's perfect.
Kind of natural, built in.
Yeah. John Gruden is commentating on there. John Gruden's been through some things since this movie played out 10 years ago. Deion Sanders had hair. He had no hair. Now he has hair. There's things that are happening. There's been science advances since this time. All in all, Bill, I thought there was a Twitter. There was the first. They was like, how don't you have Twitter? Vontae Mack puts out a leak on Twitter about whether or not he's going to get drafted or not. This was 11 years ago, Bill. The movie was ahead of its time. I thought it was a solid movie.
Hold on. Give me who all you just went through, because I'm re-looking at the cast. Sam Elliott was in it.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Elliott is the Wisconsin coach, head coach of Bo Callahan.
Mm-hmm.
You know who Ray Jennings was?
Yeah, Arian Foster. Arian Foster. He ends up doing that. And also, by the way, this was 2014. You thought Kevin Costner was dead?
Oh no.
No, he's not. He's back.
Are we going with Yellowstone or you got something? Yeah.
Yes, he comes back with Yellowstone 6 years later after this when you thought he was gone. What a run for Kevin Costner. Now, but the big question is 803-404-6100. If you know, you know. Would you have picked Vontae Mack first? Who do you got? Vontae Mack or Bo Callahan? If you know, you know. If you don't know, figure it out. 803-404-6100. Vontae Mack, Bo Callahan, what would you do?
Vontae Mack, it was a no-brainer.
I don't know about that.
Bo Callahan struggled under pressure. Couldn't handle the pressure. Vontae Mack had a motor. You need a guy.
Yeah,
And in this situation, you did get your 7th pick back. It was all very choreographed. You ended up with the number 1 pick. You got a lead linebacker to lead your defense.
He was wheeling and dealing.
You got a running back in, was it Ray Jennings?
Ray Jennings,
yeah, that everybody wanted out of Florida State. Yeah, you got the linebacker and the running back.
But he gave up 3 first rounds to get
Got them all
Vontae
back.
Mack.
Remember, he gets them all back.
But he didn't do that at first.
It doesn't matter. It was all part of the ploy. See, he's wheeling. Sonny was wheeling and dealing.
Sonny
He knew
Weaver
what he was
Jr.
doing. Got them all back.
803-404-6100. Vontae Mack or Bo Callahan, what would you do? Draft day. What a run. What a run Kevin Costner had.
And since we don't know how the rest works out in that alternate world, Browns won 4 Super Bowls afterwards.
Could work.
It's the early game.
Hey, it's Jen for CHW Cabinetry in Lexington. Locally owned business, a woman-owned business, and a business that took really good care of us at a very stressful time in our lives when we had that flood that completely required our kitchen being gutted. We ended up working with them. They made it so much easier, got the photorealistic rendering of the kitchen that was the finished kitchen. I mean, it looked just like the kitchen. In fact, we stole one of their ideas because we really liked the lighting that they put into that photorealistic rendering. But it was very helpful, and they're helpful in so many ways, even if you don't need to do a total redo in a kitchen. Maybe you just want to get the pantry organized a little bit better, put some of those drawers in. Maybe you want to just replace a couple bathroom cabinets like we did recently. They can help you with that as well. If you have a home office workspace you want to create, you need to reach out to them. CHWCabinetry.com. Call them today at 803-520-6837. Tell them Jen Jensen sent you. CHW Cabinetry, passion from inspiration to installation. And still encountering a slowdown in 277 northbound at I-77. Again, that's 277 northbound at I-77 where we have an accident. I-77 northbound at Faro Road. There's been a vehicle on fire, so they're tending to that. And then I-26 eastbound at Augusta Highway, also a report of a slowdown. Could see some scattered showers and thunderstorms today, primarily in the afternoon and maybe into the evening. Again, just scattered. 79 for the high. Maybe an isolated storm on Friday. 81 for the high. And again, a chance for maybe a pop-up shower or storm on Saturday afternoon. 85 will be our high. 64 right now on 107.5 The Game.
7 a.m. on a Thursday morning, draft day. We get you up and get you going here this morning. A lot to get into. We have got NHL and NBA playoffs from last night. Preston, I feel like both of us are kind of doing the same thing with the NBA playoffs. It's kind of like, oh, that team's good again? Cool. Cavs are the best team in the oh, okay, cool. All right. Okay. All right. Houston's back. Houston's good again, huh? Okay.
Yeah. Houston, fun team to watch. Fun in the way that they're very annoying. Fred VanVleet.
Wow. Somehow still playing. Yeah.
Still somewhere out there collecting big checks. My guy that was in Memphis, Dylan Brooks, still being. Oh, man. If you want cinema, Dylan Brooks versus Draymond Green, this is going to be fantastic. You talk about two of the most annoying dudes in the league. That is going to be fan. And maybe it's like magnets. You know how like two similar magnets repel each other? I don't know if that's going to work, but these two are the exact same brand of annoying. Going to be fun to watch.
NHL last night. Yeah, I've got a great series going on. Colorado and Dallas went to overtime. Dallas wins that. They go up 2-1 in that series. That's a really good one to keep an eye on. The Capitals last night, Patrick Perret's team, somebody hit us up and said, boy, and I couldn't get in touch with Patrick yesterday, but said, man, where is Patrick today? If he had that whiteboard there in the studio, yeah, Patrick would be drawing it up and breaking everything down. But couldn't get in touch with him yesterday. But hockey last night, Patrick Perret's Capitals, they win 3-1. Alex Ovechkin, the
Ovi,
we used to have that open. We're going to have to see if we can pull that back of him just screaming at the championship when nobody knows what he's exactly saying. But he's just out there yelling and having a good time. So NHL was really good last night. We'll get into some Braves talk as well. But several of y'all weighing in. 803-404-6100.
No spoilers.
David says Cleveland picking a QB that folds under pressure is kind of par for the course. Mack is the clear choice. Another texter goes with Vontae Mack all day long. Go Buckeyes.
I forgot he did play for Ohio State.
My fault. Yeah.
My fault.
Michael goes with Vontae Mack because his teammates would definitely have went to his birthday party. It's a good point, too.
Listen, man, there are conflicting reports about the birthday party. We don't know. It was from an anonymous source. There's conflicting reports. That's all I'm saying.
Besides the Browns, he says Brian Drew. Was it Brian Drew or Brian Rowe?
Brian Rowe.
Yeah.
He was coming off of ACL, though. What do you do with that quarterback? I don't know.
Free agency. Jacob in Lexington says, I take Mack because that was my choice from the beginning. Mack, no matter what.
I hear y'all,
Everybody
man.
going with Mack. That's the pick.
I hear you, man, but I think maybe y'all are some sentimental suckers out there.
No, man.
I don't know. It was a great story.
I hate to ask this. I haven't seen this movie in like 10 years, and but I remember it. But I hate to confuse real life with a movie. Was this where they put the $100 bill in the back?
It was.
And Bo Callahan left the $100 bill in there?
Well, see, here's the thing. Bo Callahan never read his playbook to the end. And then when they asked Bo Callahan about it, he didn't confess to saying it. He doubled down on it. And so they felt like there were some character issues about it.
Yeah,
they called him at the draft, and they asked him, and he doubled down on the lie again. And so the only person who ever sent the $100 bill back was Brian Rowe.
There you go. So you felt good with him as your quarterback. Mm-hmm. Yeah, even though the ACL. So keep sending those in. 803-404-6100. Let's get out to the phone line. Scott wants to weigh in this morning. Scott, how you doing? What's on your mind?
I'm good. Good morning, guys. And it is Brian Drew.
Brian Drew, my fault. Yes, there we go.
It was Brian Drew. But I will say this. Obviously, y'all did not get the underground version of part 2, which was pretty much so really bad because it shows the following year and the fact that Bo Callahan and Seattle had a phenomenal year with defense and running back and won the Super Bowl, and he never did learn the full playbook. But unfortunately, Mack and Ray Jennings were begging to get traded after a 3-win season with the Browns, and Sonny Weaver Jr. getting fired the following year after Seattle won the Super Bowl. So I didn't know if y'all caught the second version of the reality of Browns football in general.
Thank you for the update. Thank you for the fan fiction. I really, really do appreciate that, and that seems like it could have possibly happened. Ray Jennings, never known anybody to be begging to go play for the Browns. So that was, if there was anything that was
Deshaun
fictional,
Watson did. You saw how it worked out.
He got paid. He got paid very well. If there was any part that was actually fictional about that story, was the idea that somebody would be begging to go play for the Browns. Scott, appreciate your call.
Y'all be good, man. Have a blessed day.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
I'm looking at. I think he was making that up. But there is a draft day too. But I think it's satire, a draft day 2 trailer.
Listen, a lot of things could happen. Seattle went out. They end up getting their guy. It's interesting how that played out, man. Sonny Weaver Jr. dealing.
803-404-6100.
No spoilers.
No spoilers. Well, unfortunately, we've given away all the spoilers now. You know how it works out. But that movie also 11 years old. We'll continue talking about that, get back into some Nick Emmanwori. But I tell you what, let's do a little Chop Talk right now, as you've got it here. Chop Talk, the Braves right now, Preston, playing better baseball? A little bit better?
They're on their way. They're on their way.
Left field.
Just cut off? To the machines.
No idea.
Tommy Moody.
Well, the Braves are on their way. As you said earlier, they were 7.5 back, which we determined whether that was good news or bad news, but it is news. There's 140 some odd games left, 7.5 back. So there's a lot of time, but they are back very early, and unfortunately the Mets are playing well right now.
The Mets are playing really well. Braves have gotten off to the awful start, right? They lost their first 7. Since then, they've rebounded a little bit. They're 10-7. 10-7. They've come back a little bit. Yesterday, they finish up a series victory over the St. Louis Cardinals. They have actually now won 5 of their last 6. They swept Minnesota. They took 2 of 3 from the Cardinals. They get today off. Then they travel out to Arizona, a little bit of a West Coast trip coming up over the next 6 games. Arizona tonight. That game will actually be on MLB Network, which these blackout things, man. One day I'm just going to go off on it.
And another thing.
Yeah. Chris Sale throwing tomorrow night, Friday night. Braves getting off travel day for them. But Chris Sale on the mound. So you get a chance now with your ace pitcher maybe to kind of keep the momentum going out in Arizona. That'll be followed up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday with a 3-game set against the Colorado Rockies. You'll get an off day next Thursday. That will be followed up by the Dodgers back in town. We've already seen them go out to the Dodgers.
Bring 'em.
But May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, Dodgers coming over to Truist Park there. And the way it lines up, unfortunately, is Chris Sale is set to throw the Wednesday game against the Rockies and will not get a start in the Dodgers series. I know we'll do Chop Talk next week at this time. But that is the way it's kind of set up at this point in time right now.
Well, at this moment, I usually like to bring a new analytic to the table, and I have an old school one today. This is called HR.
Okay.
And that stands for home runs. Braves leading the league in home runs. After a slow start, as of yesterday, they were leading the league in home runs. So it's not a coincidence that the team is starting to win when the bats are starting to wake up. Sean Murphy's playing very well. A lot of the guys are starting to hit. So as of now, the analytic for today is HR, and that stands for home runs.
Was it last week we did this? I can't remember if it was last week, maybe 2 weeks ago when they started. I can't remember which day it was. And the batting average for the team was 151.
Very poor.
It is up to 236. You have now started to have guys start to heat up. Marcell Ozuna is up to 318 hitting the ball. Austin Riley now is just 4 points shy of 300. He's batting 296 on the season. Matt Olson, still not good. You're hoping he gets it going, but he's at least up to 238. And I say at least up to 238. That's better than it was. Ozzie Albies is up to 234, and you mentioned it, 32 home runs on the season. Now, I didn't look because you brought up this stat, so I didn't know where to go with this. Where in the league does 216 strikeouts register?
I don't have that analytic.
Like, are we?
I don't have that analytic. We can find that though.
We'll see if we can grab that real quick. But the Braves again set to go on a kind of a West Coast road trip. Arizona starting tomorrow night, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then that will be followed by a 3-game set in Colorado at Coors Field against the Rockies. For those wondering, Arizona right now 14-10, 4th in the NL West. The Rockies are successfully being the worst team in baseball. Are you aware of this? Are you too aware of this?
I have not paid attention to the Rockies in a long time.
Okay, the Rockies are outdueling the White Sox.
Okay.
Rockies are, take it for what it's worth, Rockies are 4-18. White Sox, who also very, very bad, 5-19.
Dante Bichette does not play for the Rockies anymore, does he? I don't think. Larry Walker? No.
Yeah, I was getting.
I would like to see the Rockies improve a little bit, just because I would like to see the White Sox be lower than.
Okay, totally understandable.
They'll put in a valiant effort. Don't worry, they're going to try.
I think they are. Yep.
They'll try.
And I know a few White Sox fans back home. They're a little bitter right now, and I just feel terrible because it's not like they've exactly been kind to me for seasons of the Cubs. So it's turnabout.
I have no real reason to ever look at a Rockies roster. Do not know. I think the closest name I have on here is Chris Bryant, who he played for the Cubs for a little while.
Clemson pitcher?
No. He's a hitter. And I think
I love Chris Bryant.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. There you go. Yeah, he spent 2015 to 2021 with the Cubs. That's about the only name I've got for the Rockies right now.
Andres Galarraga, he doesn't play for them anymore.
No, also not on the Rockies roster
crazy.
anymore. So a little bit of chop talk there again. Braves, they've gotten things going a little bit. Preston, they're starting to maybe rebound. We're still waiting, kind of patiently, on Ronald Acuna Jr. And you had something on here. What were you going to bring up about Ronald?
Acuna on the Twitter machine. There was a little bit of controversy. I forget which player it was. Basically did what Acuna did before, where he hit a long fly ball, was not hustling, got called out at second when he was trying to turn it into a double, and Acuna basically said, yeah, if that was me, I would have got pulled, because he did get pulled a couple of years ago when that happened. So there was a little bit of underground controversy on that. He since deleted the tweet, so it didn't go too far, but there was a little bit of back and forth between Acuna and, I guess, the organization, because he did get pulled for a similar incident.
Yeah, and apparently Jeff Francoeur, who we all remember was supposed to go to Clemson to play safety, ended up being drafted by the Braves, went on to have a very nice career with them. Had a very thoughtful rant, I guess, if you will, about the tweet, and basically saying they start talking crap about each other. Let's be honest, all of us, all national media, this team's a letdown. They were the second best pick to win the World Series in all of this, and these guys are trying their rear ends off every single day. You finally get something going your direction, and you got a guy who's supposed to be your teammate tweeting out, probably out in L.A., something that's completely meaningless and stupid.
Yeah, I disagree, Jeff. I disagree. What happened to Acuna, the same thing happened, except Acuna got benched, and then this player did not get benched. He's just saying, well, if it was me, I'll tell you.
So, we'll see how it goes.
Maybe the manager should have got ahead on that one.
Acuna, I believe is out in L.A. doing kind of final prep and trying to get himself ready.
He said out in L.A. like he's drinking Mai Tais or something by the pool.
Yeah, he's not. I think he is out in L.A., but I don't think it's like hanging out at the beach and doing things like that. He's trying to get himself ready to play. 803-404-6100 is how you can choose to weigh in if you want to text in this morning. We'll get back into some Nick Emmanwori discussion as we get ready for tonight. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. It is the early game. Bill Gunner for Corley Pool Solutions, where they believe in providing the absolute highest quality swimming pool service at the most affordable price to you and your family. How about this? We are on the brink of hitting May, and once you hit May, school starts to let out. You want to have that pool looking spotless. Now, I've already told you should have already been in touch with Corley Pool Solutions, having them maintain your pool way back in March, but now it is extremely valuable that you have them coming and maintaining that pool weekly. And with Corley Pool Solutions, it is more affordable affordable for you to contact Tracy Corley and his team with their 20-plus years of experience than for you to try and do it by yourself on your own. So give them a phone call. Flat rate pricing, including all of the chemicals. 803-445-8109. Again, that's 803-445-8109. Again, it is more affordable to let Tracy Corley and his team handle your pool maintenance than it is for you to do it yourself. So call today, 803-445-8109. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
Highway 1 coming from Lexington. Before you get to I-20, there's a car versus deer incident. Going to need you to stay left in that spot. So we appreciate the call on that. Also, as far as conditions that are concerned, 277 northbound at I-77 and I-26 eastbound at Highway 1. So do be careful. If you would this morning, we're looking for maybe some scattered storms this afternoon or this evening, just kind of popping up. 79 for the high, 81 for possibly a pop-up shower or storm tomorrow. Same pretty much with Saturday, looking for a high of 85. But currently it is overcast and sitting at 64 on 107.5 The Game.
7:20 as we get you ready for the NFL draft. And I do want to remind you, we do have baseball coming up Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We'll get you going tomorrow night, 6:15 pregame, 6:30 first pitch. Gamecocks out in Kentucky for a huge 3-game series. And we'll talk a little bit about that tomorrow, obviously, just to kind of preview it a little bit. But every game is a must-win. Every series is a must-win. There's no such thing as biggest series of the year anymore because they're all the biggest series of the year.
Yeah, they have to win. They have to win, and they have to take the series, preferably get this sweep now instead of say they need at least one sweep.
Right.
Well, why not get it now against a team who's not very good, just like we are. We are similar teams. You need to go ahead and get this sweep now.
So 6:15 pregame tomorrow night, 6:30 first pitch. And a reminder, you can go to our website, 1075thegame.com, to get registered for the Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union Grand Slam giveaway. If a Gamecock batter hits a Grand Slam, you can win all the cash in the pot. Currently, there's $250 in the pot. Go to 1075thegame.com and get signed up for the Federal Credit for the Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union Grand Slam giveaway. Talking a lot of Nick Eamon-Ward. We expect to see him tonight. Drafted in the first round. He's been mocked. I've seen him mocked all the way as high as number 8. I've seen him mocked recently at number 17 to the Bengals. Some other people have had him in different spots, different positions. I'm looking at the most recent mock draft according to ESPN. This is one of the Mel Kiper mock drafts, and they have him all the way down at number 24.
Ooh.
You know who he goes to there?
Why you think I'm saying ooh?
Does it help your fandom?
This would lock me in.
This would be like a 4-year contract?
If this happens, I am locked in. Skull.
Minnesota Vikings.
That's correct.
For those of you that don't keep up with the draft order quite like Preston Thorne.
Or if you don't listen to the show every day and understand my fandom for J.J. McCarthy and the Minnesota Vikings.
So
I'm in free agency right now.
He's waiting for the draft tonight. 24. I've also seen him mocked somewhere around 27 to the Ravens, where they would love to add him next to Kyle Hamilton. So we expect to see him tonight.
I'll tell you something. That secondary with him and Kyle Hamilton would be very, very interesting because they're very similar players. That'd be very interesting to see.
The question, did we know this was coming, or is this a byproduct of development? This is Nick Eamon-Ward, number 5, Jen. This is Nick Eamon-Ward yesterday on the postgame show with Jay Phillips and Elijah Campbell, talking about his development at South Carolina from Clayton White and Torian Gray.
Honestly, man, it was just a perfect storm brewing in Columbia, especially at the perfect time when I came through there. I owe a lot of thanks to Coach Beamer, Coach White, and Coach Gray, who had a lot of stuff to do with that, and even the strength staff. They had a lot of stuff to do with my development at South Carolina. Just like you said, Ohio State's probably gonna have better dudes year after year, but at South Carolina, you got to get it out the mud, man. As they say, you got to really grind at South Carolina, put all your chips forward, especially from where I came from. South Carolina was my only Power 5 offer, so I didn't really have, everything how these other 5-star kids had. So I had to really get out the mud. No one really knew my name. Even when I committed to South Carolina, I was kind of under the radar. A lot of people were speculating. I remember a couple of dudes was why we keep getting 3-star recruits? He's not going to help us. So I just remember all the stuff back then. But I mean, honestly, man, that's just like you said. At South Carolina, if I was at Georgia or Alabama, it would be no question I'd be a first-round lock. No, no question. No one's questioning anything. No one's thinking about it twice. But at South Carolina, man, you got to get it a little different, man. You got to get it out the mud. Got to grind a little harder. So it makes it better knowing I did all that. Coming from where I came from, Irma High School, 15 minutes up the road, 3-star recruit, only one Power 5 offered a first-round pick or potential first-round pick. Man, it's pretty awesome, and it shows a lot for what Coach Beamer has done. So,
couple things there. And I think most important, let's start with the most important thing. Let me just get straight to the important thing. All that happened in December, the end of December, the bowl game. You hear that. That is, everybody's come back together. What is he doing? He is giving a lot of love to Shane Beamer. He is getting a lot of love to Clayton White, to Torian Gray. That's what needed. We talked about that. That's what needed to happen. And it was unfortunate the way the second half played out. It was unfortunate that there seemed to be a massive miscommunication in what the plans were on both sides. But I think it's very important to understand to not let one 30-minute half of football ruin a reputation, ruin a career, and ruin a relationship for a hometown player and a university that really helped him out and showcased his ability.
Yeah, because this is the story that you can go and show to every single recruit that you bring in. Look at this guy. Look at what we did with him. Look at what he did with us. We can make you successful. This is a place where you want to be. And we did speak to that, is that they had to make sure that they mended that relationship. And I figured it would. It was just going to take some time for both heads, cooler heads to prevail and understand each other. And it was going to be fine. But that was the reason why you didn't want that to go, of course, because now when Nick goes and is an advocate for the university, he will speak glowingly about the university. He'll speak about Shane. He'll speak about the strength staff. He'll talk about all those folks, and that's what you wanted to have happen. So now on Monday night, he'll say University of South Carolina instead of Irmo High School or whatever, however.
Well, and he'll come back, too.
Exactly.
He'll come back. He'll be on the sidelines. There's going to be if he goes on to have the career we all hope he has, kind of like Stephon Gilmore, you're going to have guys out there going, I see what Torian Gray did. I see what Clayton White did. Look at how Shane Beamer was a part of that, and it works. Now, there's a lot of things we can get to with the legacy of Nick Emmanwori. One of those is being 2-1 against Clemson. This is him yesterday talking about how beating Clemson was the highlight of his football career.
Man, for me personally, that's at the top, and that's at the top of everything. Top of my career, top of my list so far. Just being undefeated in Clemson, Death Valley, whatever they call it, but being undefeated there, man, it's awesome because, if you guys remember when I first came into college on National Signing Day, I hit him with a Clemson's on the clock. So, that's kind of like legendary how right when I said that, we haven't beat Clemson in a while. Then that first year I was in school, we beat Clemson for the first time in years. Broke their home win streak or something like that. It was like a 70-something win streak. We broke that streak, and then we beat them again my last year in college. So it's been fun, man. That's at the top of my list for sure.
Don't give him too much credit, Nick. I think it was closer to 60 or something.
What a perfect dismissal. Whatever they call it. That's what you
He never
want.
lost up there.
That's what you want.
He never lost
What
up
is
there.
this place? Whatever they call it. That's the guy. Good job. But, yeah, that is hugely important. Not only did he come here, play well, but he played well in important games. And if we look back on this Shane Beamer era, he's going to be a tentpole piece. He's going to be somebody that you'll look back and say, hey, this guy was part of something or building something in some of these special seasons.
Yeah, he obviously, and we'll get ready again. I'm glancing back through this mock draft. I skipped over a little side note that Mel Kiper has here on the Cincinnati Bengals at 17. He says there are going to be some really good defensive players available in this range. I'd also watch South Carolina safety Nick Emmanwori, Will Johnson, and Kenneth Grant for the Bengals. So, again, Mel Kiper weighing in on this little draft here. Field Yates has Walter Nolan, the defensive tackle from Mississippi, going to the Bengals. Mel Kiper says keep an eye on Nick Emmanwori in that slot as well. So, again, we expect to see him go tonight. Speaking of a guy that we knew was going to go very, very highly, Jadeveon Clowney. We'll revisit when he went number 1, South Carolina's number 1 overall draft pick way back when. We'll discuss that and talk a little bit more as we roll along here on your Thursday morning. It is the early game.
Presser here for our good friends at Integrated Media. Listen, we've been telling you all the time that you needed to get your outdoor setup ready. We told you that the spring was here. Well, spring is here, but summer is still on the way. If you had your outdoor setup ready, you might be watching Nick Emmanwori's name get announced in the first round of the draft tonight, but that's okay. There's still time to get called. You can get Samsung Terrace TVs that are waterproof. You can get Sonos outdoor speakers that are for TV and music. You can get Wi-Fi that works indoors and outdoors, so you can have the draft playing on one screen, NHL on another screen, NBA on another screen. You can have Major League Baseball playing on your phone, all of them without any lagging because you got the perfect Wi-Fi set up. Or you can control all your devices from just one remote. So you need to call Nathan and Michael at Integrated Media. The number is 803-948-8327. That's Nathan and Michael at 803-948-8327. Or you can reach them online at integratedmediainc.com.
Couple areas to be mindful of this morning when you're off and about getting to work and school. Highway 1 near Kelly Mill Road, there's an accident there. Also Highway 1 at Ridgeway Road. I-26 eastbound there at Augusta Highway, exit 111. I-77 southbound before Fort Jackson Boulevard. Also, there's a slowdown there. And I-20 Highway 1 near I-20 as you're coming from Lexington. There's a car versus deer incident, she says. You need to stay left to get through there. And your forecast could see some pop-up storms today. 79 for the high, 81 tomorrow with a couple isolated storms as well. 66 right now.
Eight zero 803-404-6100. There is, yes.
Ah, yes.
Titans are on the clock. We're going to get into more of the draft in hour number 3. Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, some of the other. I'm just looking at this mock draft again. Let me look and see when precisely this was put out because I feel like we're going to get one more. We'll get one more mock draft, right, Preston? One more mock draft. This was put out at, actually, it has been updated or was put out at 6:40 a.m. from Field Yates and Mel Kiper Jr. Told you most recent, so we'll get more into how this plays out. And I'm just glancing real quick. I told you yesterday, I did not watch ESPN Bet yesterday, but I told you yesterday morning when I was watching it on Tuesday, they had the Cleveland Browns with the highest odds, going back to draft day,
Sonny Weaver Jr.
to pull Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders.
That would be a Sonny Weaver Jr. move. That would be a move. I was just thinking when you were saying that by 7:40 on draft day in the movie, Sonny Weaver Jr. had already found out some life-changing news. He had already been threatened to be fired. He had already made a deal. A lot of things had already happened by 7:40 a.m. in the movie draft day. If you haven't seen it, no spoilers. No spoilers. I know if you're getting, you might want to get to it. I got to it a little bit late.
We'll get more of a draft breakdown of just certain players and what Preston thinks coming up in hour number 3. But it was 11 years ago. 11 years ago, Preston Thorne, 2014. Also, now that I've
there you go.
Wow.
See how it works, Bill.
Okay.
What did you just? What just happened? What happened just now?
Light bulb.
The movie draft day took place in the fictional year of 2014, where Sonny Weaver Jr. made a pick for a defensive end. And what do you know? In real life, a defensive end was picked. Jen, can we get clip number 13, please, here?
They do it again now.
On the first night of the NFL draft, the Houston Texans decided to bolster their already impressive defensive line.
With the first pick in the 2014 NFL draft, the Houston Texans select Jadeveon Clowney, defensive end, South Carolina.
The pick was no surprise. Clowney is one of the most coveted defensive players in years.
A lot of people said I would never be nothing. I always say I'm going to be something one day. I kept telling myself that I don't care what it is, I'm going to be something great. I'm going to do something great for my family. And now I'm in the NFL heading to be hopefully a Hall of Famer one day.
He meant young. Really young, I think. Maybe he ate extra cookies out of the pantry. And they were very upset at him, and they were like, "You don't listen. We said only one cookie, and you just ate 5.
Very possible.
If you don't listen, you're never going to be anything."
It's very possible, and that could be true. I just know there were a lot of people who said he was going to be something for a long time.
Bobby Carroll was very adamant about an 8th grader. This is really in my recruiting prime.
He was like, "Oh, he's going to be something."
Yeah, Bobby Carroll at South Point, I believe it was Bobby Carroll, was very, very adamant as an 8th grader. I've met two kids, and they were kids. Okay, they were not young adults. They were kids. I've met 2 8th graders where the high school coach, and I do not remember the high school coach's name at Yulee High School, but the coach were adamant. Mm-hmm. Like, this dude, this is a dude. Jadeveon Clowney at South Point. Some dude named Derrick Henry at Yulee High School.
Yeah, solid. Two dudes.
Now, I'll say this. Jadeveon Clowney's an 8th grader. He wasn't physically, but you could see all of it. Like, you could tell, like, ooh, as an 8th grader, he's tall and he's lanky, and then all of a sudden the muscle and everything really kicked in. Because remember, the impressive thing about him, it was he was running track. Like, trust me, track was his second best sport. Basketball was nowhere close. Derrick Henry's an 8th grader, looked like a grown man.
Yeah.
Like Derrick Henry could have walked into a gas station and purchased beverages and cigarettes with no problem as an 8th grader. I was like, oh, my goodness.
But there's something interesting to that because sometimes you'll see that somebody might have just hit puberty earlier than everybody else, and sometimes they level out, but Derrick Henry has never leveled. He in the NFL, he still looks like a grown man amongst the other NFLers, right? So he never completely leveled off. But, yeah, Jadeveon Clowney, first-round pick. And if you go back to that time, what a fun time that was to be a fan of. Obviously, we were winning. There was a lot of good things that were happening right now. But he's going to be the first pick in that 2014 draft. And it was like a lot of national press, a lot of national coverage on the University of South Carolina. And, again, hearing the school's name, hearing the name that he's associated with, seeing the highlight clips, seeing the hit, all of those things bring more attention to the University of South Carolina. And, again, if you needed a cold shot of water to the face, that was 11 years ago.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. But nonetheless, it was a great moment for the University of South Carolina. Now, it does not appear that Jadeveon Clowney is going to live up to what he said, onto a Hall of Fame career. But he's had a good career.
Yeah, he's had a very
nothing wrong with it. He's not a bust.
He's not and we'll get into that a little bit more tomorrow. Yeah, he's had a very solid career. Maybe not what you would want out of a number one pick. I don't know what, with the things that you think we're going to get with the number one pick, but he's been very, very solid in his career. In fact, came back last year with the Panthers, had a above average season, especially for what they had him for and what he was wanted for. So, yeah, I think barring injuries and barring some different things, he had a very solid career. Definitely not a Hall of Famer, but he had a solid career. You wouldn't classify him as a bust or anything like that. Just had a very solid career, and he's played well for a long time.
He has. He's played exceptionally well, and again, we'll see. I'm trying to now. You're trying to get 11 years. So what is that? That puts him right around, without looking it up, but I'm going to here in just a second. What's it around 32, 33? Does that seem right? 31, 32? I'll have to look that back up, but we'll see what he's able to do to wrap up the rest of his career, if there's anything he can kind of add on. I mean, remember, was it Baltimore a couple years ago? Baltimore, I believe, he got the sack that was like his 8.5 for the year and got the bonus, got the big bonus, and basically just came out afterwards and was like, yeah, that's just going to go to the kids.
He was also in Cleveland. You think Sonny Weaver Jr. was part of that deal?
Look, Jadeveon Clowney is a journeyman, okay? Let's do this. Can you do this?
Ooh,
Name. Now, ready. Clowney, by the way, 32. He just turned 32 back on Valentine's
Houston
Day.
Texans.
Number 1.
Seattle Seahawks.
Very good.
Cleveland Browns.
Very good.
Baltimore Ravens.
Excellent.
Carolina Panthers.
I feel like, let me look.
This one.
I feel like you're missing one.
Nashville, maybe.
That's the one. You're right. There you go. It went Texans, Seahawks, Titans, Browns, Ravens, Panthers. 6.
He's official.
Oh, he's past official. He's pushing up on 1/4 of the teams in the NFL.
For sure.
803-404-6100. We'll come back, get back into a little bit of the movie Draft Day, but also a particular actor. Preston Thorne's going to present you with some difficult decisions.
This man had a run.
One of the early game's favorites. Bench, cut, start. Prepare yourself accordingly, Kevin Costner fans. How do you handle this? We'll let you answer when we come back. It's the early game. Bill Gunner for AAA Heating and Air. Oh, yeah, there's no humidity right now. It feels perfectly good. It feels nice, but you know what's coming. You know that humidity is just around the corner, and I hope your heating and air unit is ready to work for you and get the job done, because if not, boy, are you going to be in some trouble. Well, if you need some repairs, guess what? AAA Heating and Air is taking care of their customers right now. Whether you're a first-time customer or a long-time customer, you can get 12-month payment plans on your HVAC units. All you got to do is be a valid homeowner with a bank account. That's right. They're not even doing any credit checks. All you got to do is be a homeowner with a valid bank account, and AAA Heating and Air will make sure you get a 12-month payment plan. And, of course, if you need a brand-new heating and air unit, there's no better time than now to call AAA Heating and Air. 803-677-1500. Again, that's 803-677-1500. Just tell them Bill Gunner sent you with 107.5 The Game. 7:48 as we get you up and get you going here on your Thursday morning, April the 24th. We'll get into more draft talk, more deeper discussion dive than just Nick Emmanwori coming up in the next hour. Also, our Corley Pool Solutions Checkered Flag Challenge with Mr. Josh Harris as we come off of the Easter break and get set to go to Talladega this coming weekend. Reggie Anderson has regained the lead, and Preston Thorne, well, you made a better last week.
I guess.
Better.
Better.
We'll get to more of that. 803-404-6100 if some of y'all want to weigh in real quick. Matt on Jadeveon Clowney says, do you think Clowney's career would have been different if he wasn't drafted to Houston and Bill O'Brien?
That's a very interesting question. I mean, the Bill O'Brien, they had moderate success, and they seemed like they were bumping up against the wall. I don't know. He had some injuries that maybe hindered him. He looked like he was a chance for him to do some good things. He was playing across from our other dude when he was at when he was at Houston. There was another guy there that was pretty good. I don't know if you ever heard of him, J.J. Watt.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. That is a good hypothetical though.
Ron weighs in. Can you imagine if there was NIL when Clowney was here? What number could have that been?
Hey, he might not have been here. I don't know. It's a good question. Yeah. It would have been high enough, and it would have been well deserved because he was dominant, and he brought a ton. If you talk about name, image, and likeness of what that actually is, do you not remember the whole Clowney Coming campaign? His name was his picture was on the side of the stadium. His name was everywhere. So if we're talking about what actually name, image, and likeness was, I don't know if there's a number high enough for what he actually brought to the university at that time.
It's a good point.
The hit, anybody, that thing still plays.
Yeah.
Does he get paid in perpetuity for that?
Yeah.
Should.
Our buddy Richard weighs in. If Nick goes to Baltimore with my boy Kyle from Notre Dame, the Ravens might be my second team.
That could be very interesting. That could be a very interesting secondary. And obviously the Ravens are a well-run organization. That'd be a good place for him to end up there. And also, our guy Travell Wharton could take care of him.
There you go.
That's the offensive line coach up there.
A little bench cut start, as we like to do here. Preston's going to put it to, boy, is this going to be difficult.
Hey, listen, man, I watched Draft Day for the first time yesterday. If you haven't seen it, it's a movie that came out in 2014. I'm a little bit late, so I'm not going to give any spoilers in case you haven't watched it. But Kevin Costner was the lead. He played Sonny Weaver Jr., the GM of the Cleveland Browns, during that movie. And that was in 2014, a little bit after his prime, before his second coming. And what's his new series that he's in now?
Yellowstone.
Before Yellowstone. So it got me to do a little research on Kevin Costner. Kevin Costner is somebody that I didn't realize I grew up with. He was around all the time because this man had a run from 1988 to 1992. 1988, Bull Durham. 1989, Field of Dreams. 1990, Dances with Wolves. 1991, JFK. 1992, The Bodyguard. But we're just going to keep it in the sports realm here. Start, bench, cut. Kevin Costner sports movies. Bull Durham, Field of Dreams, Draft Day, Tin Cup.
Oh, you threw in Tin Cup. I forgot Tin Cup.
I'm going to give you 4 options. One's just not going to get mentioned. Start, bench, cut. Bull Durham, Field of Dreams, Draft Day, Tin Cup. I will say this. I didn't realize Bull Durham came out in 1988. That would have made me very young. I definitely learned a word that I was not supposed to learn watching that movie when I was that. My brother's 9 years older than me, so he was watching that. I should not have been watching that movie at the time that it was out. Learned a word that stuck with me for a long time. If you know, you know.
Okay. So what direction are you going here? So bench cut start, send these in. He's got 4 movies: Bull Durham, Field of Dreams, Tin Cup. So one of them. Is there a 4th option? Sit back to the minors. I don't know. What do you
relegate?
Relegated, yeah.
Well, Bill, I know you're going to relegate Draft Day. From what I was
saying, whatever 4th is where Draft Day is going.
You're going to relegate Draft Day. Here's the deal. I'm going to start Bull Durham. It is a movie that I am very fond of. Even though I watched it at a young age, I've grown to appreciate it. Here's going to get controversial. I need to go back and watch Field of Dreams as an adult. I watched it as a youngster, didn't get it.
Yeah.
I need to go back and watch it as an adult. So I haven't watched it in a long, long time since I have a greater understanding. I'm going to cut Field of Dreams.
Okay.
And I'm going to bench draft day. Start Bull Durham, bench draft day, cut Field of Dreams. 10 Cup, you get relegated.
Okay. All right. I think slightly, ever so slightly, Bull Durham edges out 10 Cup.
Okay.
10 Cup was I didn't realize it, and there was one time, this real quick, there was one time that I went to like Blockbuster and rented movies for like the weekend. I was, my dad was like, all right, get yourself a movie for Friday, for Saturday, and then for like post-church Sunday, whatever. Somehow I ended up with 3 Rene Russo movies. And it was like halfway through the weekend, I was like, wait a minute, Rene Russo's in all of these movies. What's wrong with me? But 10 Cup was a childhood favorite. There's a lot of things out of that I still laugh about with golf. But I'm going to go Bull Durham to start. That is just a classic. Mm-hmm. There is just stupid, and it's funny, and there's just so many. 10 Cup's great. There's some other great stuff. Don Johnson's in there, and just everything. And he knocks 18 balls into the water on, 18, I think, at Pinehurst, whatever. And then, I'll cut. You know what? If it's worse to be, I don't know if it's worse to be cut or not mentioned, but if it's worse to not be mentioned, that would be draft day. So I'll just 1, 2, 3, 4. Field of Dreams is 3. Field of Dreams just a little too kind of like sappy and just father and build it and they will come. It's just a little.
I was just too young. I didn't get it.
Well, we had, and just to muddy the waters, we had a caller that said, for the love of the game.
Courtney Levitt just texted in and said, for the love of the game.
Yeah, that was a 40-year-old pitcher who pitched a perfect game in Yankee Stadium.
Okay.
I think that's also because you really, Bull Durham and 10 Cup are more funnier movies. The love of the game, I think, I haven't seen that in years, and I may even not even be thinking of the right movie. I think that was more of a serious Field of Dreams kind of pull at the heartstrings kind of movie.
All I'm saying, I was just like, man, Kevin Costner was a dude.
Draft Day was just
Hall of Famer.
Yeah, Draft Day was just stupid. Just he out there swindling the Seahawks for everything they got. Hour 3 on the way.
Preston here for Ben's Cato's Power Equipment. Ben's Cato's Power Equipment has been serving the Columbia area since 1983. That's over 40 years. And third generation owner Ben Cato provides top-notch service, great deals, and the mom-and-pop values that you love. Ben is determined to raise the standard of sales, service, and retail. At Cato's, they are proud to offer a wide selection of new and pre-owned mowers, tractors, and more. So if you're ready to invest in something new, the friendly team is there to make the process easy, help you choose the right equipment, find financing options, and keep your gear running strong with expert service and parts. The crew might be young, but they have over 125 years of know-how in outdoor power equipment. So swing by Cato's Power Equipment today or call them at 803-254-3711. That's Cato's Power Equipment at 803-254-3711.
Still a little bit busy out there this morning, and Amex Ferry at Lake Tide Drive. That is one incident to be mindful of. Also, Edgewater Drive near I-77. Fernandina at Piney Grove. Also, Highway 1 near Kelly Mill Road. Highway 1 at Ridgeway Drive. And there still could be a little bit of a slowdown there. I-20 or Highway 1 near I-20 as you're heading towards Columbia. You're going to want to stay left in that area. Could see some scattered storms today, and we're looking for a high of 79, sitting at 65 right now.
Final hour of the Thursday morning show, and we got a lot to get to here. We'll continue to talk a lot of NFL draft and get into a little bit more in this particular segment about actual other players in the draft. We'll continue to talk about Nick Eamon-Wari. We got our Corley Pool Solutions Checkered Flag Challenge coming up as the boys get ready to head to Talladega coming up on Sunday, 3 o'clock on Fox. We'll talk with Josh Harris about that. But again, continuing to talk about draft day, both the actual event today and the movie where several of y'all have weighed in. Chad weighs in on the text line, 803-404-6100. What, Preston? My man? No freaking way you can cut Field of Dreams. Un-American you are.
I understand the criticism. My preface for that was I just saw it when I was too young, and I didn't get it. I do think that if I saw it now, I might understand it a little bit better.
Bobby goes with start Tin Cup, bench Field of Dreams, cut draft day. Another texter says start Bull Durham, bench Field of Dreams, cut Tin Cup, relegate draft day. But not going to lie, they're all good.
Kevin Costner.
Our rugby aficionado, Mr. Nick Stratton, start Tin Cup, bench Field of Dreams, cut Bull Durham, and don't care draft day. And then we got another texter who weighed in and said Sonny Weaver III fired Sonny Weaver Jr. because it's the Browns.
It's true.
Start Field of Dreams, bench Bull Durham, cut Tin Cup, and draft day's just fourth.
Draft day doesn't get a lot of love in the Kevin Costner
draft day
filmography.
The Browns aren't out here swindling anybody out of a first and a first and seventh.
And what do you know? The Cleveland Browns still terrible. 11 years later.
Yeah.
Still got the
not
Sonny
working.
Weaver Jr. could still be trying to figure out what to do with these top picks.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't get Bo Callahan, so he went out and got Deshaun Watson, and that's worked wonders.
Yeah, bad call, Sonny Weaver Jr. Hope you weren't on that one. That would have got you fired.
So you look at this draft tonight, and keep sending those in, by the way. Bench, cut, start, your Kevin Costner sports movies. Now, we didn't include For the Love of the Game.
Didn't include For the Love of the Game.
And again, I went back. I'm right on that. That was that's a heart tugger.
Mm-hmm.
It's heart tugger more than Field of Dreams. Field of Dreams has its own heart tugging moments, but if you're looking for three that aren't, because Draft Day I wouldn't say was a tugging of the heart movie.
No, it was just listen, y'all are down on Draft Day. I'm cool with it. I thought it was a fun, fast-paced, it was a fun movie to me, man. I liked it. I know y'all were looking for a Ken Burns documentary.
By the way, somebody else on this weighed in
30
earlier.
For 30. It was just a fun movie.
Preston asked earlier, who would you draft?
Vontae Mack, Bo Callahan's tough.
Somebody weighed in and basically said could never take Bo when Diddy was his agent.
Solid point. I've had that in my notes. Again, as soon as he showed up, I was like, oh, man, this is dated. This is bad.
Ooh, we're still showing this?
Yeah,
okay.
This is rough.
But anyway, so we keep sending those in. Bench, cut, start. and we'll get to some more of those. But in terms of the actual draft tonight, Preston, looking at the Field Yates, Mel Kiper draft board here, they've got Cam Ward going number 1 to the Tennessee Titans. The write-up here says the Titans' entire offseason has been structured around making Ward the first pick of the draft as the team spent big along the offensive line with Dan Moore Jr. and Kevin Zeitler to protect its future signal caller. Ward is a dynamic, innovative thrower, and he can be the answer under center in Tennessee. Do you agree with that?
I guess I'm not sold. I don't think I'm sold on any of the quarterbacks in this particular draft. If I was in desperate need of a quarterback and I had to get one, I would pick Cam Ward first out of the ones that are there. But I'm not sure if I would. I'm not sold on him. He's good. He was fine at Miami. I don't know.
Number 2, they've got Cleveland.
Sonny Weaver Jr.
Andrew Berry in this situation.
Oh, okay.
Taking Travis Hunter. Said the Browns view Hunter primarily as a wide receiver at the next level, but also acknowledged they would use him on both sides of the ball if they take him at number 2. He can help in both places, especially the passing offense, which averaged a league-low 5.9 yards per attempt last season. It's hard to find a weakness in Hunter's game. What do you think? Better on offense, better on defense? What would you do if you're drafting Travis Hunter?
Ooh, that's a good pick. I think where I would figure out where would he have the most impact on my team.
And they just said 5.9 yards per attempt last year.
I think he has more impact at wide receiver. I think, but also I'm not sure if I would pick a wide receiver this high.
I'm with you. Yeah, and Hunter has said some things lately that make me question.
Yeah,
like,
you sure? Yeah, I don't know. The whole. Are you talking about the comment of like? And it's probably hyperbole. I'm not playing if they don't let me play both sides
right.
or whatever.
Yeah, but it just seems like he's taking, like, I don't know what he means by that. Like, does he want 5 snaps a game at defensive back? Is he thinking this is going to be Colorado where he basically never comes off the field? This is the NFL. They don't do that. I don't care who you are.
I think the direct comparison I would make would be Champ Bailey, who was a Hall of Famer, and he didn't do that. Right, so
Charles Woodson was good at Michigan, and he didn't do that.
He didn't do that. So a lot of these guys we've been here before. I'm just not sure.
And even Deion, his mentor, if you will,
he didn't do that.
Yeah.
So I just don't, and that's fine. He could talk. Once he gets to the NFL, he might find out some different.
3 is an interesting, just for me because I followed recruiting. I thought South Carolina had a chance to land Abdul Carter. He ended up going to Penn State.
Really?
South Carolina was in the mix for him, didn't get him.
Wow.
Matter of fact, it was a time maybe in the spring where most people thought that South Carolina was the leader for him. Ended up staying much closer to home and going to Penn State. The Giants would have that pick and says, well, the Giants have done extensive homework on top quarterbacks in the class. You remember who the Giants' quarterback room currently is, correct?
Yes, in shambles. in shambles. Two of the annoying characters for very different reasons. Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston.
Yeah, so it says the Giants have done extensive homework on the top quarterbacks in this class, including Colorado's Shedeur Sanders. I believe they will ultimately opt for the best player available, and Carter joins Hunter in a 2-player top tier and has a rare first step off the edge that's helped him to 12 sacks last season. He has a chance to be a consistent double-digit sack getter at the NFL level. I don't know how much you've watched Abdul Carter.
He's good, obviously, but if you have a chance to get a guy that can get you multiple 10 sacks a year, you grab him at that spot.
It does have Will Campbell, the offensive tackle from LSU.
See how you talk about offensive linemen? It's like, oh, yeah, we're just going to get an offensive tackle. He'll play for 15 years. He'll be all pro for 12 years. Who cares?
Yeah. Let's skip over that. Number 5, Jacksonville Jaguars take a running back, Ashton Jeanty.
It's very interesting. I think maybe we see the tides changing about the thought process around running backs with the success of Saquon Barkley with the Eagles, because all we've heard years leading up to this is, running backs, no value, no value, no value. And now you have someone going to take a pretty early step at taking a running back. We'll see.
Raiders at 6. This is so unlike the Raiders. They would take an offensive tackle, Kelvin Banks Jr.
Yeah, I know exactly.
The Jets, it does say they would take Mason Graham. We get to number 8, the Panthers. Armand Mimbo, the offensive tackle. I don't know if I said that correctly. Offensive tackle from Missouri.
I don't remember much about him, as we say about offensive linemen, which is probably a good thing.
Let me just read you the write-up because this is the Panthers. This is I don't know if it's Phil Yates or it doesn't tell me who is exactly giving this write-up here, whether it's Yates or Kiper. But it says, I know defense is an issue in Carolina. The Panthers allowed an NFL worst 31.4 points per game last season. But the offensive line could become a big problem very soon, and I think the Panthers could look that way. It mentions a couple of different players that are entering the final years of their contracts, and Carolina has to improve Bryce Young's protection. Mimbo is a tone setter who makes an impact in the run game and surrendered just 1 sack during the 2024 season.
Sounds good to me.
So
I know they drafted a offensive lineman a couple of years ago pretty high, and I'm not sure how that's panned out, but I do think Bryce Young showed improvement at the end of last year, and if you can get some more folks on there to protect him, that might work out well for you.
So that's through 8. 9 has Jalen Walker to the Saints and Tyler Warren tied in from Penn State to the Bears. Jen's Bears would get Tyler Warren.
I like Tyler Warren. He looked good. He can do a lot of different things on the field.
What you have noticed is I've read through the top 10 picks, and a certain Sanders son who just had his jersey retired has not been drafted yet. As I scroll through this pick, as I scroll back all the way through this, Preston, I've gotten to number 20. There's no Shedeur Sanders in what I am looking at. As a matter of fact, as I get all the way to 26, and I have actually kind of, because we've been talking Nick Eamon-Warry, I've not really been paying as much attention to this. They do have the Cleveland Browns at pick number 29 via a mock trade with the Commanders taking Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
very end, well, not the very end, but you get it 29.
Yeah, towards the end of the second half draft, and there's a lot of particular reasons why this is going to make for fascinating television, and we're going to get a lot of content out of whatever happens with that. I will say this: other drafts have them taking Jackson Dart over Shedeur. I don't see that. I think Shedeur is better than Jackson, but I don't think either one of them are franchise-building quarterbacks. So we'll see.
One interesting note here. Now, again, this is ESPN.com. This is Mel Kiper Jr. and Phil Yates, okay? The guy we've been talking about most likely to get back into the first round from South Carolina, TJ Sanders, right? Kiper at the end of all this has Kiper's buzzy names to watch outside round 1. It says, here are a few names that kept coming up on Kiper calls this week. Good football players could go anywhere from round 2 to round 5 that are listed in order of Kiper's top 150 big board. He has on here not TJ Sanders. He has on here, on his big board at number 133, the number 133 player overall, Tonka Hemingway. Remember, he was number 1 on the freaks list.
And this is where it gets weird. This is when it gets weird because you have somebody. There's a big difference between getting called in the second round and getting called in the 5th round. So, draft day is really, really difficult for the players that are waiting around because the team could have a fit that they need. They could like you as an individual. They could have already guys at that spot and they were going to take you. There could be trades. All these different things are happening. Also, look for Demetrius Knight to come off the boards early in tomorrow. Also, we'll talk about that a little bit more tomorrow, but we shall see.
803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in. Our good buddy Brian Burnett weighs in via Twitter. Another Costner take, and you'll like this. This is a depth chart take.
Yep.
He says, I just can't decide. So he goes with Field of Dreams or Tin Cup or Bull Durham. Draft day failed out of school.
You get the show. Good job.
803-404-6100. We will come back and discuss a little bit more. We've been talking a lot about Nick Eamon-Warry. Is he the GOAT safety? We'll talk more about it.
There's an argument.
We'll talk more about it. You're listening to the early game. Bill Gunner from Mid-State Roofing, where they are there for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They're ready to help you. You can give them a phone call. If you have a leak, Let Mid-State Roofing take a peek. That's right, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Mid-State Roofing, you'll speak with an on-call technician or a Mid-State Roofing employee. Just got to give them a phone call, 803-356-1919. Again, that's 803-356-1919. You can also visit them on the web, midstateroofing.com. Whether you're here in Columbia, maybe you're in Florence or Myrtle Beach, maybe you're in Charleston or Greenville, Aiken or Augusta, wherever you are at, Mid-State Roofing is ready to help you with a maintenance contract and make sure your operation stays dry and running long into the future. That's what they've been doing for over 30 years. They've been the leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry, and they are ready to help you today. You just need to give them a phone call, 803-356-1919. Call Mid-State Roofing today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
Amex Ferry Road at Lake Tide Road, still working an earlier tie-up there, as well as Edgewater Drive near I-77. In the area of Fernandina Road at Piney Grove, you'll find an accident there. Two more, Highway 1 at near Kelly Mill Road, and then Highway 1 at Ridgeway Road. So do be careful if you would this morning and motoring around to work, to school, whatever it may be. Looking for a high today of about 79. Going to see those scattered showers in the afternoon and evening, maybe a couple storms popping in. Same for tomorrow, an isolated storm or two, 81 for the high. And on Saturday, again, just a chance for some pop-up isolated storms and high of 85. A little bit of overcast conditions, a little mist here and there. 65 currently. I'm 107.5 The Game.
8:20 here on your Thursday morning as we get you up and get you going. Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen, talking a lot of draft, and we'll continue to talk that. Also, we got our start bench cut going right now regarding the Kevin Costner sports movies, sports movies.
Yes. Sports movies.
Another texter goes in, and Jeff, start for the love of the game. We didn't have that one, but I understand that was one we missed. A little bit just too emotional if you've seen it. Bench Bull Durham and cut Tin Cup.
Okay.
So they just flat out cut.
Relegate draft day. Draft day didn't happen. You're going to act like Vontae Mack didn't happen.
Says as a Browns fan, draft day is more like a documentary except the last 20 minutes, which is clearly the fictitious part. Baby drama, family feuds, and throwing tantrums in office clearly feels like part of the decision-making process for most years. That is from Jeff. Let me get a few more of these here. And Pesky Poll goes, Field of Dreams was nominated for Best Picture, Preston. You can't cut it. Field of Dreams starts. Bull Durham to the bench, cut Tin Cup. Draft day is so bad, it's good. So I enjoyed it, but it does not belong.
I think you might have hit on something. So bad, it's good. So bad, it's good.
Stephen from Roanoke says, start Bull Durham, bench draft day, cut Field of Dreams. Just behind Waterworld is Tin Cup.
Yeah, see, and that's what I'm saying. I think there was Waterworld, when you look at that filmography, it's like, oh, things started to go bad, but then he came back. And then he came back again, this guy. And I think he's back in the Waterworld phase of his career again because he just had another movie that came out that essentially flopped. So I don't know.
Albert weighs in. If we're going with Costner sports movies, are we just going to ignore his archery skills in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves?
You know what? That was during his seminal run from 88 to 92. Man was on a heater as far as pop culture was concerned.
All right, start, bench, cut in a way here because one of the things we have is we watch Nicky Manwari move off kind of our own from Irmo High to the University of South Carolina, debuting in the season opener against Georgia State. Now he will more than likely go in the first round tonight. We don't know, kind of, again, different mock drafts have him going really anywhere from 24th to the Vikings, 17th to the Bengals. We've even seen up as far up as 8th to the Panthers. But the question becomes, South Carolina's seen some great safeties come through here. I mean, back in your day, Antoine Neesmith became a great safety. Not on the level maybe of what we're about to talk about, but obviously he was a great safety.
Antoine was good.
A guy that you played with, Coach Simpson, was a really good one.
He was great. He was great.
DJ Swearinger, obviously.
He was great.
Rolled through here. A texter weighs in this morning and says, now y'all are about to start a great debate. I'm taking Coach Simpson over everybody. This might be a good debate because with a really good defensive line like Carolina had last year, Nick is in the argument because he's a ball hawk with elite speed and power. But if you give me an average defensive line, I'm taking Coe because he was great at understanding how that safety position is to be played in pass coverage or against the run, regardless of talent around him.
Well, part of that, as a representative of that average defensive line that played with
yes,
we
for some reason a very pot shot at you, I believe.
Not a pot shot, just a fact.
That's from our buddy Richard who breaks everything down.
Appreciate you, Richard. I played with Cole. I saw that with my eyes. I've told this story before. Cole came in the spring, and we looked around and said, "Oh, he's taking somebody's job." I don't know who else was playing.
And the thing about him is, if you remember, and I don't know if it was an academic thing, but he gray shirted. Like, they held him out for.
Yeah, Cole was amazing. He's one of the best football players I've ever seen with my own eyes. He probably would not speak 5 words. And also another guy that, okay, for instance, when you see Nicky Manwari, if you was doing the old kickball game where you pick somebody as, first round set, you're going to say, oh, that guy. You hear in the measurable, 6'3", blah, 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 blah. Cole probably wasn't that. But as far as just being a pure football player, so that leads to my question. Is Nicky Manwari the greatest safety to play in Gamecock football? I think there's clear contenders. Coach Simpson, DJ Swearinger, maybe Brad Edwards, some folks might bring up. I think those are the 3 that are in the clear, distinct running. I think there's an argument to be made that Nick is the greatest safety to play in Williams-Brice Stadium. I think you could make that argument. Obviously, I played with Coach, so that's my guy, but I think there's an argument to be made for that.
Yeah, so on this, it's hard for me to go back to about mid-'90s. So like you said, somebody could say Brad Edwards, and I would be perfectly fine. I mean, look, my recollection of Brad Edwards, and it's from highlights,
right.
and it's 1987 and sliding into the end zone against Clemson.
Right, and that's why I said that I'm limited as far as seeing that. Also, another guy who might be a victim of a terrible time. Arturo Freeman, he got injured and he was on bad teams. So he's a victim of circumstance, but he was obviously very good talent-wise, but he doesn't have the numbers or the times to put in that era. But I think there's an argument to be made.
Am I missing something? I've got back-to-back Antonio Allens, but Antonio Allen I thought was more of a spur.
Yeah,
I thought he was more of a spur backer in that
Antonio
period than a
Allen,
true safety.
I would agree with your assessment, and I would also say Antonio Allen, while very good, I'm not sure if he gets to this particular level. He was extremely good, obviously.
Yeah, Craig goes with Antonio Allen. Douglas says, give me Rashad Faison, Antonio Allen, and Arturo Freeman.
Yeah, all of those, again, these are all great. Face was a great. I think he's a little bit more of a spur as far as maybe than a traditional free safety or a too-high type of safety. All of these are great options, and you would take any of them on your team. But I think, look at the numbers, and we play this montage again of all these pick sixes and all that stuff. I don't know. Might be tough.
The only thing I'll say, and I kind of, because a couple of y'all go with, one texter just says DJ, period. Another one says DJ not only dominated his man on the field, but also psychologically controlled the other team's quarterback and wide receivers with his trash talk and bully ball. He is the greatest. I think that's interesting because Nick's moment has been taken away from him. Nick's moment got taken away from him, if we're being honest.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because DJ, we remember the back-to-back.
The back-to-back, throw the ball, and that was cool, but guess what?
Personal foul penalties.
And guess what? We were going to beat Arkansas that game.
DJ has the flipping of Andre Ellington.
That was awesome, but I think we was going to handle that one also.
But I get, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. We've talked about it. We're talking about this a little bit about Ethan Petrie. We've talked about it a little bit with A.J. Lawson recently. The difference is Nick's up there, whereas maybe we don't consider, I don't know what we'll consider Ethan Petrie at the end of the year, and I don't know, A.J. Lawson is a totally different story. But Nick's moment where it would be like, that was it. I was in the stadium that day. Unfortunately, Jen, I tell you what, let's play the clip again because it's the ending of Todd Ellis here that is what we remember. Jen, let's play number 9. Number 9. This is the Eamon Warrior pick against LSU. And while the play is great, it is the very end when Todd Ellis makes a comment about something that we remember more. Here is that.
Let's get a turnover, guys. Get a turnover. Taylor goes left side. Snap it back. Here comes Carolina. Nussmeier, quick throw. Into coverage. It's picked off. Eamon Warrior down the near sideline. Got some blockers. There's the speed. 40, 50 flag on the play. 30, 20, 10, 5. Touchdown, Carolina. Hold on, though. 5 flags thrown back at the line of scrimmage.
They ran to the sideline, grabbed extra flags, sprinkled it around. Garrett Nussmeier's laid out. They put some body chalk around him. They just put flags around him.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's what we remember on that. We don't, because I think memories are what drives this. And you can say, well, we would have won the Clemson game. We would have won the Arkansas game. We would have done this. There's a lot of great moments there with Swearinger. And he was obviously very, very good. And it's a fun debate to have when you have good players. That would have been Nick's moment.
I also have another underrated reason. Nick wore 2 numbers during his career.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Number 21.
And number 7.
Neither one of them are his.
Oh, good point. Oh, no.
It's a problem. Branding issue.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a very good point. Really interesting. It's a fun debate because they're really good, and there's no wrong answer.
There's no wrong answers on
There's
this.
no wrong. A couple of y'all weigh in. Coe separates from the rest of these guys because other dudes could be caught out of position at times in pass coverage. Coe never was.
Coe was great.
Man,
Coe was good.
A couple more here. Good buddy Vernon Hester weighs in and says, do not forget Pat Bowen, who played with George Rogers. Well, I got to admit, Mr. Hester, Mr. Vernon, that was before my time.
I'll do some research on this.
Someone else also text in a Rick Sanford.
I do know, yep.
Because I'll give you an example, just because it's a little bit before my time. I'm not. If you'd asked me, I couldn't tell you if they played defensive back or safety on Rick and Brad in that situation. Chris has a good question for you. Let me ask here. What if Corey Jenkins had been at safety his entire career?
There's an argument to be made. I mean, again, Corey Jenkins just recently got inducted to his JUCO Hall of Fame, and he's a South Carolina Hall of Famer, maybe the best athlete to ever come out of this state. He played in the NFL at linebacker. sight unseen. They were like, yeah, come on. You can play on the same now listen to his crew that he played linebacker with. Oh yeah, Junior Seau, Zach Thomas, Shannon Crowder. And oh yeah, you dude that was playing quarterback and you played baseball and you did some other stuff, yeah, you come play linebacker with us. Oh yeah, and that was by Nick Saban who said that. So I think wherever Corey wanted to play, he would have played.
803-404-6100, how you can weigh in if you want to this morning. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. Coming up next, Corley Pool Solutions, Checkered Flag Challenge with Mr. Josh Harris. It is the early game. Bill Gunner for Zero Risk Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. As we start to head toward the summer, you need to make sure that home of yours is looking spotless. And with Zero Risk and their ZR water technology that does not leave behind a sticky, soapy residue, nor will it leave harsh chemicals on your carpet, you can feel comfortable this summer with the kids laying on the floor, rolling around, the dogs and the pets being there. You'll have no problem whatsoever. But it all starts with a phone call, 803-262-4020, mentioning me, Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game. And right now, you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for the price of 2. You heard that correct. 3 rooms cleaned, but you will only pay for 2. All you got to do is mention me, Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game, to secure this deal. You can book online, ZeroRiskColumbia.com, or you can give them a phone call, 803-262-4020. And make sure you ask about Zero Risk commercial cleaning as well. That's right. Zero Risk. Spell it backwards or forwards. That is the right way to clean.
Amex Ferry Road at Lake Tide Drive, getting that earlier tie-up cleaned up. Edgewater Drive near I-77. Fernandina Road at Piney Grove, still an accident there. Highway 1 near Kelly Mill Road and Highway 1 at Ridgeway Road are the other accidents to be mindful of this morning. And as far as the forecast goes, we're going to see still we're in this pattern of maybe some scattered showers and storms in the afternoons and evenings. 79 for the high today, 81 tomorrow, 85 on Saturday with those chances of storms each and every day. Right now, it's holding steady at 65 on 107.5 The Game.
$8:35 as we head into our Corley Pool Solutions Checkered Flag Challenge. The boys were off last week. They were enjoying Easter with the family. Maybe some jelly beans, maybe some Peeps, maybe some peanut butter chocolate covered Easter eggs. I don't know. Maybe the Cadbury eggs. Who knows? What do you got to get? Did you have a Easter candy that was direct? You went directly to last Sunday?
No, I didn't.
Did the daughter lose candy, a particular candy to Papa Thorne?
Well, you always got to inspect the basket just to make sure everybody's safe. Just to make sure everything is cool. So, inspect and lighten the load a little bit.
Josh, welcome in. Particular Easter candy that you went to on what was a truly great day and a day off, I assume, for you last week. Did any of your kids lose some jelly beans, Peeps, or the peanut butter chocolate-covered Reese's eggs?
Well, we did have a day off. I think they all enjoyed the Peeps they got. Among other things, I would say that probably rates high on their list.
Now, have you watched the NASCAR Chasm Peeps 400? On Twitter?
I see that he posts like some clips, but I haven't watched the whole thing.
Yeah, he tried to dress it up this year and have more commentary, but basically there's a Twitter guy that is NASCAR Chasm. He's very funny if you're interested in watching. A very unusual sense of humor, and he did this last year or the year before, and it's kind of become an annual thing where he puts numbers on Peeps and for different drivers. And I think, was it Denny Hamlin that won this year? So, it's kind of funny. So, it basically is microwaving Peeps. And whichever one comes out the least melted and blown up is the winner of the race. It's pretty funny.
Well, that's probably the best use of Peeps right there, quite frankly.
Oh, no.
The best. We know Clint, our Peeps guy, staunch defender of the Peeps, but no. Anyway, we will circle back to that conversation maybe tomorrow. But let me ask you, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Ryan McGee's got a great article from last week talking about the Rockingham revival just might allure NASCAR back for good. What have you heard about it? How did it go? And do you see that as a potential place where maybe they try and slip something in there? Maybe not every year, but occasionally.
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole idea there is, what we've seen with a number of these older historic tracks that fans have been asking NASCAR to go back to in some form. When you think about, North Wilkesboro with the All-Star race now for a couple of years, went to Bowman Gray earlier this year with the Clash, and then Rockingham. So I think it hits on some objectives from a NASCAR perspective when you think about growing the sport and also paying tribute to our history and giving some of our long-term fans a little bit of what they've been asking for. And it gives a way to introduce some of our new fans to tracks that we've run out in the past. So I think it hits a lot of objectives. I think it's a cool way to have racing on Easter, but still give our teams, Cup Series gets a week off. The Xfinity and Truck Series kind of get to be the highlight of the weekend. And they're all close enough to home that by not racing on Sunday, they get to spend Easter at home. So I think it's a good mix all the way around. Everything I've heard, it went extremely well. They had a great crowd on Saturday, good crowd on Friday. And, like any event, I'm sure there'll be some things they would want to do differently next time. But for the first time in 12 years being there, I think they did a phenomenal job, and I think it certainly opens up the conversation for what's next, and we'll all just kind of wait and see what happens.
Yeah, I agree. Lots of it was good racing, and but if to have the Cup Series go there, then you're having to take away a points race from someplace else. So is it better to be something like you said, where it's more of something where Xfinity can be the highlight of the weekend? I don't know that we'll see Cup go there, but who knows? I mean, I like how they're being inventive and doing different things.
Yeah, I was just glancing. The All-Star race is coming up in 4 weekends, May 18th. And that'll be back at North Wilkesboro. That's what I'd kind of personally. I think that's kind of what I would. I don't know what you two think. Y'all are more of the aficionados of this, but that's kind of what I would prefer, is to see like the All-Star race be bounced around some of these older tracks, kind of going back to yesteryear, if you will. Josh?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great way to do it, and it puts the All-Star race kind of in the heart of where our sport was built, which is, over the years, for many years it was at Charlotte Motor Speedway. I think we ran it at either Texas or Bristol once or twice. So for the most part, it's been here in the Carolina region. I think it's a great way to get back to some of these tracks where, when you think about the points paying races, if you're going to give one to a track where we're not currently going, it's got to come from somewhere. And I don't know that anyone's out there raising their hand saying they want to give up a race. So this is a good way, I think, whether it's the Clash or whether it's the All-Star race itself, to be able to go back and visit some of these. I know there's been a lot of talk about the championship race, having a rotation, and perhaps that's something we could look at with the All-Star events, a rotation of sorts, so that we can continue to hit them but not oversaturate the market.
All right, let's look ahead to Talladega. We get back into action, a week off for the guys, probably a badly needed week off. It is crazy. It continues to amaze me. We talk about golfers. Golfers like Rory McIlroy can take a week off last week, not go to the Heritage. If you're a driver, basically once we start in February, you're full bore all the way through October. So they got a much-needed week off. Now we're at Talladega. Josh, I'll start with you. What are we – no picks yet, but what are we looking for from Talladega?
Well, I mean, it's another one of those races where it's kind of a wide open field. There's certainly guys that excel at this style of racing, the close quarters pack racing. The biggest difference I think we'll see from Daytona is Talladega is another lane wider. So where Daytona, you're kind of maxed out running 3 wide, you can easily get 4 wide in the corners at Talladega, and sometimes even push it 5 wide. So it'll be interesting to see if more racing, other lanes develop. And, I think starting up front is a big key. So, how qualifying turns out on Saturday will go a long way to, I think, the outcome of the race.
Well, I agree. And hopefully people aren't going to be laying back. I know that's part of the strategy at times, where people are laying back and not really racing effectively right away. But I just want to see some good racing, and I just would rather not see anybody. It can be an attrition thing. Anybody could be pushed to the front, and an unexpected person could win. This is the one time where a younger guy could win because he could be in the right place at the right time and get pushed to the front.
Very, very possible. All right, let's make some picks here. Preston, you're going to lead the way. Then we'll go to Jen and Josh, myself.
I'm doing this too much.
Yeah, it is the Corley.
You're making up ground.
You are. Yeah, you're hanging in there. Kind of like the Braves.
Thanks.
Kind of like the Braves.
Yeah.
All right, you got the number 1 pick here, Corley Pool Solutions Checkered Flag Challenge. Which direction you going?
Give me Ryan Blaney.
And Blaney was
going with the odds.
I like that. Going with the odds. All right, so Preston had
stick to the fundamentals here, Jen.
Preston had 23. That takes us to Jen, who is just 3 points ahead of him at 26.
Yeah, boy, I'm struggling with this one. I'm going to say Chase Elliott. I'm not real confident in that, but I don't know. For some reason, I feel like maybe the 9 will get there.
All right, that brings us to Mr. Harris, who is not too far behind, 4 points behind Reggie, 1 point behind me. He's had a nice little run here of late, collecting points. Picked Denny Hamlin as the winner at Darlington. Must have known something we didn't. Go right ahead. Who are you taking?
I'm going to keep doing this until he until he gets one at Talladega or Daytona. Give me Brad Keselowski.
Okay, good job. Oof, thought you were going to.
I think it's a solid pick. He's been close.
Denny Hamlin has been red hot. He finished 5th in Homestead. He won in Martinsville. He won in Darlington. He was 2nd in Bristol. Denny Hamlin's hot. I'm going to ride him right now. Give me Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, he's not hot on Super Speedway. So good pick, Bill.
Well,
Love
I like
that.
what you said convinced me. I know we got only 30 seconds. What you said convinced me about him hanging to the back of the pack.
Yeah.
And letting things happen. He's good at that.
No, he's very good
I'm
at
going to
that.
take a chance on that.
Yep. And then I think Reggie, that puts William Byron for Reggie.
Byron. Mr. Harris, Mr. Josh, we always appreciate you joining us each and every week. Look forward to catching up next week.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Take care. Take care. That's the Corley Pool Solutions Checkered Flag Challenge. Appreciate them being a sponsor of that. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the program, some bench cut starts and other thoughts as we wrap up draft day. It's the early game. Bill Gunner for the Ecton Law Firm. If you have received one of those mean, nasty notices from the IRS, you or your business, well, they could be in trouble. You don't want your personal or your business taxes in trouble. You just need to call John Ecton and his team. Listen, they know how to handle the IRS. They know what to do. They have proven local solutions that have helped thousands of families just like yours get out of the IRS maze. And trust me, nobody wants to deal with the IRS alone. So with John Ecton and his team, they're ready to help you. They're going to give you the peace of mind you deserve. But you got to make a phone call, and you really need to do it today. Time is of the essence. Get a free consultation when you give them a call, 803-771-9800. Again, that's 803-771-9800. The Ecton Law Firm has a local team dedicated to resolving your income or business tax issues for good. So call them today, 803-771-9800. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you. Thank you again to Josh Harris there for joining us. Again, the picks. Preston Thorne goes with Ryan Blaney. Jen goes with Chase Elliott. We got Mr. Josh with Brad Keselowski. I'm taking a bit of a chance here with Denny Hamlin. And then Reggie goes with William Byron for Talladega, 3 o'clock on Sunday.
This is the one chance that Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has to win. So he seems to only be able to pull out wins at super speedways. That's why I said it is such a crapshoot. That's the best way to put it, because you just don't know.
You convinced me. I was kind of leaning to Kyle Larson, but you convinced me when you talk about the idea of sitting back, allowing.
And then he got kind of busted for that one of the last super speedways.
Yeah, and so I'm going to take a chance on that. 803-404-6100. Let's go to the phone lines. Ray has been waiting more than patiently to discuss our bench cut start. Ray, how you doing this morning? What's on your mind?
Hey, doing good, guys, doing good. I just want to throw in there, I guess, talking about the Costner films, I'll take Bull Durham and just put it to the side because it's obviously going to be number one in majority of people's picks. But I'll tell you, I really enjoyed Tin Cup, and I think the timing was everything. It was right at the time when Tiger Mania kind of started getting really, pretty big, and I think everybody was keeping up with golf, and it's crazy. And then the movie, The Driving Range, it brought back memories when I was a kid, because I can remember going to the driving range. There was one in West Columbia, and they had little things out there. If you hit targets, you'd win this. If you ring the basket, you win a beverage, or if you're a kid, an ice cream sandwich, something like that. So I thought that aspect was really cool. And I was thinking about it. I think and this is a bold statement here, because I am a huge Michael Jordan fan. I mean, huge. But I think Tiger Woods did more for the game of golf than Michael Jordan did for the game of basketball. And I'll just get your take on that. Thanks a lot, guys.
There's a summertime topic. What do you think, real quick?
Well, I think there's a lot of meat on that bone for sure.
Might want to put that.
We can put that to the side. I would say that they're both transcendent athletes for sure.
803. Yeah, we'll save that for the summer, just maybe for a few weeks when we get to the PGA Championship. I don't know if he's playing. There's no April Fools coming up for Tiger to play with us. I did see at least the other day that on a Vegas betting card, Tiger was plus, it was either 5,000 or 50,000. Those are two gigantically different numbers, but I did see Tiger Woods' name on it. I don't know if he's officially ruled himself or been ruled out for the PGA Championship. So anyway, we spent most of the day discussing Nick Emmanwori and Draft Day, the movie, Draft Day, the actual day that we have. We've got our bench cut starts that are out there. Have you learned any? Let's go through the list here. Have you learned anything on the Kevin Costner movie bench cut starts list?
Yeah, I think that's a sign of a strong filmography when you have people that are listing what their favorite movie is at the top. We haven't really seen too many lists that are the same, and we even had some that were thrown in. Again, the man had a massive run from 88 to 92, and then he kind of has sprinkled some along. I think 10 Cup was like 96. So he's been steadily trucking along. And then he comes back along with Draft Day in 2014. Big movie.
In terms of Draft Day, we should hear Draft Day, the actual day. We should actually hear one Columbia native's name called. I'm interested to see. Now, correct me if I'm wrong on this. I'm thinking we could have 3 Columbia natives drafted in the next 3 days. 2 that we're all very happy about.
Ooh, I like where you're going with this.
A third that'll probably get called tomorrow, I believe, that we looked at that was here and left. I would obviously be talking about tonight, Nick Emmanwori. I would be talking about the guy who left, Jordan Birch. And the third, Alex Huntley, who maybe gets his name called late on Saturday afternoon.
There's a possibility. There is a possibility. Again, you never know what's going to happen towards the end rounds, where teams are going to pick or who's going to pick and whatnot. But, yeah, the first 2 for sure.
It'll be interesting if that is what comes to fruition about how much talent we at times have right here in Columbia. I'm not talking about throughout the state of South Carolina, but right here in Columbia. And, Preston, we've also put it out there, Nick Emmanwori. There's no wrong answers here. Where he ranks in the all-time safety list at the University of South Carolina.
Yeah, I definitely think if you're watching football, if you're in your formative years watching football, and you wanted to say that Nick Emmanwori is the best safety that ever played, there are some possibilities to that. He could be. The numbers support it, the draft pick support it, the play supports it. There's an argument for it.
Yeah, when it comes down to everything, I think you're going to have people from the 2000s that, like us, who graduated 2000s, who look specifically at Emmanwori and Swearinger. And then you're going to have people who maybe were in the 70s and 80s who look specifically at Rick Sanford and maybe Brad Edwards and somewhere along there. The thing with Coe, the only thing that hurts Coe, I think, is 2 years.
Yeah, and what he do in those 2 years?
He was great. He was phenomenal. But it was a transitional
time.
It was a transitional phase. Also, the brawl happened. He left there. It was just kind of a wild situation for him.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he was a transitional time, but he was fantastic as far as who he was as a player.
Let me tell you about Mid-State Roofing. For nearly 30 years, Mid-State Roofing has been the leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry, and it is that proven history that is your assurance that their professionals will get the job done in a safe and pleasing manner for your operation. But most importantly, they'll keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They've got someone on call to answer your phone call. 803-356-1919. Again, it's 803-356-1919. Give Mid-State Roofing a call today. And again, you'll speak with an on-call technician or a Mid-State Roofing employee. Make sure you tell them Bill Gunner sent you. Preston, wings tonight? Pizza? What's the food?
Oh, I don't know. We're gonna see. It could be a lot of games, a lot of things to watch.
We are out of here. We'll be back tomorrow morning to break it all down and talk more about it.
More draft day tomorrow. Appreciate y'all.
Y'all have a great rest of the day. It's been the early game.